Folks don't previously know me. The name is Physics, aka Tony. This is my man to the left. You see LunarZ. I'm gonna call you a Titan main. You've got quite a bit of time on Hunter, but I'm gonna call you a Titan main because that's what everybody knows you for now.
See, I discovered that it was only tracking from Beyond Light to this point, so okay, I'm not. I guess I'm Titan main. So.
Make sure I turn it down a little bit. We got Kami in the bottom left, the young Jedi himself, and I mean we'll let everybody do their introductions here in a second. And we got Nuveii, of course, down in the bottom right. So Lou, do you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Sure thing. I go by Lou, or LunarZ, as some people like to call me when they accuse me of cheating. Basically, I play Destiny 2. I don't have any consistent schedule, and I hit the go live button whenever I feel like it. And I upload YouTube videos every now and then. So, yeah, there you go.
All right, so we can find you on both Twitch and on YouTube in particular with LunarZ. Is that correct? So LunarZ.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. So LunarZ with a Z, everybody.
And then, yeah.
And then, yeah, I'm trying to blow you
Twitter.
Up.
And then on Twitter, it's LunarZ with an X and an underscore, because, you know, Twitter won't let me get my the username I want or the @ that I want.
Have you talked to Shiraz, the homie, the Destiny 2 Twitter guru? Yes.
See, I never cared about that kind of thing. So,
bro. You blowing up based on YouTube now. You know, so you got that. You about to get that YouTube money, and then that's gonna push right over the Twitch and the Twitter. So we got to make sure we get you right. So talk to the homie Shiraz if you need me to make a connect.
Right.
Let me know.
Good looks.
Yeah, most stuff. Cool. Then we got the young Jedi himself in the bottom left. Kami, if you want to introduce yourself, sir.
Okay, where do I start?
You should probably start by closing Apex.
Oh yeah, I probably should do that. Okay, so I've been playing Destiny since D1. I didn't really become, I guess, quote unquote known until Destiny 2. Nowadays, kind of just washed, retired, you know, enjoyed my time playing tournaments just to get second place for a bit. Now I kind of hit go live whenever, and now I'm trying to be a content creator.
Gotcha.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Gotcha. So where can we find you on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube? Where can we find you?
Kamiya, by the way.
Kamiya, by the way.
Because I also struggle with, getting clean ads. But Kamiya, BTW, all socials and platforms.
Gotcha. Awesome. And we got, last but not least, Nuveii in the bottom right. What's up, girl? What's going on? Please let us know a little bit about you and where we can find you.
So all my socials are just @Nuveii. Luckily, because my name is, unique, I guess. I luckily have all my socials, right?
I feel like that's just Xbox luck, to be honest with you. So many people on Xbox just have really clean aliases. I don't know.
I mean, well, at the same time though, like a lot of people on Xbox have like super weird names kind of, so I feel like but I am a Twitch partner and I stream every Friday through Monday, and I mainly do trials. So,
Trial superstar.
Trial superstar.
I'm the trial superstar. I was #1 in the world for about a year and a half for the most flawlesses.
Yeah, who ended up coming on top? Because you got like over 2K.
I think it might have been OSK.
No, it's Jake. It's Jake.
Oh, Grenader Jake.
Have you seen that guy? He's been doing like 50 cards a weekend. I'm like, I don't know, man.
I mean, he does get paid for it though, like heavy paid for it though, you know. So
that's true.
So that's that. I mean, we got a job, right? That man got a job.
Actually, OSK was like #1 in trials, like flawlesses and wins in Trials of the 9. Not Osiris though, but he was up there for a while. And then
He's
he
been
stopped
going for a while.
Yeah, he's been on and off. His father passed a little while back. You know, rest in peace, homie. You know, so like I think after that he's just been taking care of what he needs to take care of, basically. So so you know, is what it is. What was I gonna say? Nuveii, did you tell us where can we find you on Twitch, on Twitter?
Yeah, just at Nuveii, like Nuveii everywhere.
Gotcha. And then it's an Nuveii.
No, II.
Okay, gotcha. So 2 I's. Gotcha. Cool. So like I said, we got Lou in the building, we got the young Jedi and we got Nuveii, the Trials superstar, all-star superstar. And we're just here today. Kami, we'll tell you the origins real quick. You know me, I'm a conversationalist. Kami hit me up in the DMs. He's just like, Tony, we should have a discussion, man. You know, we should have a talk because we all feel very strongly about PvP. We are, I say we are PvP enthusiasts, but maybe we take PvP a little too seriously sometimes. We got to step back and try to get that extra perspective. You know,
fill in the blanks. You know,
a little bit, right? So. Com hit me up in the DMs and he's just like, yo, let's have a discussion about Witch Queen and some of these sandbox updates and what we can kind of expect. And then, you know, just this, you know, taking a step back as well with regards to, I think your camera cleared up a little bit, Lou. So that looks nice.
Ooh,
yeah,
sweet.
You're looking crispy now. I see it.
I was about to say, it looks better.
Yeah, right. And take a step back and kind of look at the context of just Destiny 2 PvP as a whole and, you know, where the direction of it is going based on Bungie's communication to us and also, you know, what we've kind of seen as far as the track record, because that's something a little different as well, right?
Right.
So I think we wanted to start it off with, oh boy, yeah, we got that TWAB today, right? And Lou set me off and Glow was popping on Twitter.
Yeah,
Did you
I saw
see
that.
Glow popping on Twitter, dude?
I didn't want to say it, but like, you know, Glow's that guy. So
you didn't have to say it, man.
I don't have to say it. Glow's that
heavy.
guy.
He went heavy. So what's gonna happen with regards to, you know, we get Witch Queen, which is fantastic. Everybody's excited, like unilaterally. I don't know anybody that's not excited about Witch Queen. PvP mains, PvE mains, and of course, our beloved Gambit mains. So the TWAB that came out today, I love it because Nuveii was just like, Tony, what you know, which TWAB should I read? And you know, I was just like, you should read the 210 one. And before I even said that, she's just like, what the fuck is this? I'm not reading this one right here. This latest TWAB is all about Gambit. Yes, Gambit is getting a huge update come season 16 with Witch Queen's drop next week, which kudos, you know, I love Gambit myself. I will quickly say, you know, and I'll go around to everybody and get their thoughts. I'll quickly say that I do not believe that it should have taken precedence over a PvP update in season 16. But nonetheless, either way, it 100% was very bare bones. Needed an update. I'm super happy for the Gambit main fam. And I'm just happy to dip back in as well. I mean, I've seen quite a few of my hardcore PvP mains say, "Hey, we might get back into Gambit and become Gambit mains," you know, for another.
Because when Gambit originally came out, like in Forsaken, I was all over it, man. I played it just as much as like PvP, really.
Yeah, no,
and I guess it was just like I just like the gameplay loop of it, and obviously before it was ruined by like, you know, Queen Breakers at the time and Sleeper. It's usually some outlier that ruins it, but I enjoy it myself personally. Yeah. And, you know, grinding for malfeasance and the dredging title and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Of course. Well, what I loved about it, you know, as well was the fact that we had Gambit Prime specifically, right? We had options between Gambit and Gambit Prime. Gambit Prime and just that whole season brought out and Reckoner brought out the Gambit armor, which allows you to drill deep into your build crafting specifically for Gambit to win Gambit via, you know, your Reaper, via your Collector, via your Vader armor.
Basically allowed you to play deeper into like the role that you wanted to play.
Exactly. And for me, being a PvP main, I hated invading. I felt like invading number one was fairly one-dimensional. Like, you just take some heavy over there and you just knock everybody out and you come back and you just keep on doing it again, you know? And it just comes down to, you know, who can do it the fastest and who can time it the best. I mean, I know I'm oversimplifying it, you know, Gambit mains, don't fucking yell at me, okay? But yeah, I loved that aspect of it. But getting back on topic, Gambit is getting a huge update with regards to season 16. We're getting two new maps, which are old D2 maps coming back into the rotation. And as far as PvP goes, it seems like we're getting some quality of life updates for trials. And then we get one brand new PvP map in season 17, but there isn't much disclosed with regards to updates to PvP in season 17 and beyond. And it does seem like, based on kind of vague communiques from Joe Blackburn, the game director for Destiny 2, and other kind of, little drops drip drops we've heard from from Bungie staff over the last year. It doesn't seem like we're going to get much with regards to PvP until Lightfall. So we'll start with Lou. What are your thoughts on Gambit, coming in over PvP, and kind of where do you see that going? Where do you see it going for PvP through Lightfall?
My opinion on it is that we have the same opinion on it. I don't think it should have taken priority over PvP. Like, obviously, I'm just biased towards PvP, but in the grand scheme of things, I think people are gonna be okay with it, like with the Gambit rework, because there's not really many weapons to chase, to be honest. Like, of course, the gameplay loop is getting some substantial updates, but from what I'm seeing on Twitter from a lot of Gambit players, it looks like a net negative. Because from what I'm seeing, or from my understanding with the gameplay loop in regards to heavy, they're gonna basically fix the heavy issue by giving all players heavy. I guess that's their way of fixing it, right? So we'll see how it plays out. But from what I'm seeing a lot, it's a net negative. Like, I haven't stepped in Gambit for like over a year and a half, to be honest with you. So, I mean, it's fresh, I guess, but obviously I don't think it should have taken priority over PvP. Like, so many of like those resources and so much time could have went into making PvP a more replayable experience and making it a better day-to-day experience, right?
So this is my question for you, and this is a question for Com. Well, actually, we'll just go to Com next. Com, like, do you think that Gambit sustains the game, especially during content droughts, the way that PvP does? Or like what are your thoughts with regards to the priority of Gambit versus PvP, versus like how much of the population like mains one or the other? I mean, I don't want to load the question or whatnot, but I kind of loaded the question.
No, I think, if you want my honest opinion, if we have to sunset something, Gambit probably should have been sunset back during.
But we got that Sony. We got that Sony money now. We got 3.6 billion. Maybe we can do both now.
I mean, people were like freaking out when they heard, oh, Tencent invested some money into Bungie. We might see it. I don't think we've seen it. I don't think we ever will see it. It'll probably be towards another title. And I believe that the Sony acquisition, I guess to kind of speed run a little bit, I think that's more towards Destiny the franchise, not Destiny the game. So to answer the Gambit question, it would have been better if it got sunset. But that being said, I was looking at Twitter. A lot of people's percentages when it came to Gambit, it was very rarely above the double digits. And I think an update like this, it's going to take more to get people, not only Gambit mains, but also other people who are interested, because it's not solely about, oh, is the average Gambit player going to enjoy this? I think that's kind of a given. What's going to make the PvE player get into Gambit? What's going to make the PvP player get into Gambit? And I think goes back to what you said. If the gameplay loop isn't there, and if there aren't exciting weapons to chase, if there's no spare rations, right?
Yes, nail it.
Why would I go into
nailed Gambit? It? Exactly. Agreed. Exactly. And so that's what Lou. I was thinking at the time, and I'm glad you mentioned it. Spare rations was a monster. It was strong meta in PvP, right? That's how you got me in there. That's how you got Com in there. That's how you got Nuveii in there. That's how you got us all in there. So. I've always been a proponent of them integrating different weapons that were meta in certain playlists, like making sure that you're able to acquire that only from another playlist, so that you dip your toes into it. There's very few things in Crucible. The problem is there's very few things in Crucible that people would get in Crucible that are meta in, for example, Gambit, or that are meta in PvE. So, where's that loot in the Crucible is all I'm asking to get people to play.
The only thing I can think of from what I've heard from like some Gambit players is like the Frozen Orbit, a snapshot auto loading holster. Like Frozen Orbit's like really good in Gambit apparently. Or just for the purpose of like, it's a good sniper and you can invade with it, right?
True. But
auto loading's like the huge part. But like you said, there's really nothing that gets like players from different fronts of the game into PvP outside of like I guess, you know, prepping for Witch Queen doing bounties or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel it. All right. Nuveii, what do you think? What do you think about Gambit coming in before PvP as far as resources, as far as us getting an update there?
I mean, you guys pretty much like covered like nearly everything that I think. I do think that PvP did deserve the like upgrade over Gambit because I just don't know anyone in the world who plays Gambit over PvE and PvP. So I mean, I'm definitely biased. I also do understand it though at the same time a little bit because I feel like it has been like a very long time that Gambit has gotten like a revamp. I mean, PvP does get these little changes here and there, I guess, like over the course of time, and Gambit has just been just straight up just dry, you know,
bare bones.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's just nothing. So I get it, like they're trying to give love to every section of the game, but I kind of feel like PvP is honestly in such a just a bad place right now, honestly, that it might have deserved the update over Gambit.
Gotcha. All right, so I'll flip this on your head a little bit for everybody. You know, what if they're updating Gambit to go ahead just get it out of the way, you know, so that they can then dedicate resources for a sustained burn for PvP updates for the next several seasons? What if that might
was kind of my thoughts, but instead of Gambit, it was like for PvE, right? Because Bungie did mention that from Witch Queen launched like, you know, onwards to the rest of like D2's life cycle, every new season there's going to be a new raid in a dungeon. Every new season. So that's every 3 months that PvE players get content, right? So if it's like, if they can keep the PvE players satisfied, then maybe they might have some room for, you know, dedicating resources to PvP, but who knows? That's probably what, you know, Sony, the whole Sony acquisition, right? Some point down the line, maybe we might see that, but I'm not expecting to see like the effects of it instantly or anytime soon.
Gotcha.
In my opinion.
Gotcha. Com, what do you think? You think we're getting a sustained burn for PvP, and that's why we got the Gambit update?
That's wishful thinking. I think what it comes back down to, right, is PvP, like all in all, more so than anything else. There's a lot of areas that are struggling. I don't know how many people in the call play Destiny 1, but if you look at Destiny 1 across the 3 years, especially towards the end, especially with Age of Triumph,
yeah,
you know, with the exception of balance. Let's not talk about balance.
I mean, you know, we've always struggled with balance, but continue.
I think the playlist situation with PvP was pretty good. At one point, you had your classic playlist with like the, you know, OG maps, your one maps only. Then you had like your usual playlist. What was it? I don't think we even had. Did we have a dedicated control playlist? Maybe
we didn't. No, I don't think we had a dedicated. I think it's still rotated.
It was a rotator.
Yeah, it was a rotator.
It was a mix of like control, clash, supremacy. I felt like that was fine.
Yeah, if you wanted to play control, you had to play classic mix, I think.
It was either classic mix or just play zone control. But my point is that the playlist situation was a million times managed better there than what it is here. A lot of the playlists don't get a lot of love. I don't understand why control and clash are separate. I'm not sure why we've been doing Iron Banner control for the longest time. There's very little variety, and I think if there's going to be a PvP update, right? Let's just assume they dedicate all the resources towards, you know, PvE, Gambit, make sure that's all up to date. PvP is going to need a serious revamp before I would say a lot of my PvE friends would ever consider actually getting in. Because comps, you know, it's in dire need. Trials, despite having a revamp, is back to being in dire need.
Okay.
Ranked / survival / comp.
Yeah.
That hasn't seen an update since like Not Forgotten days, really, outside of making it threes.
I'll counter a little bit, and we'll give it to Nuveii. I mean, like, things are much more complicated, you know, with regards to the playlists and with regards to crossplay, split populations, split pools, and things like that. So I mean, that definitely hurts. I mean, because we do have a fairly simple playlist, like set of options there. You know, I would argue, and I think it's more so it may be more so to do with, like, you know, just split player pools and how complicated it is on the back end. So I don't want to necessarily say, you know, that they haven't done their best with regards to giving us playlists that they think, you know, would be populated and that should work. I'll just quickly say as well, I don't want to get too off topic here, that they are going to take a look. DMG said that they are going to take a look at the matchmaking settings, this lobby balancing and the connections and et cetera. They are going to take a look at that over the next few months. So hopefully we'll get some guidance from Bungie to let us know kind of like how that matchmaking is going and how they're going to proceed going forward to ensure that playlists are populated and that we see some of these connection issues, specifically the connection issues that derive from crossplay, are kind of ironed out over time. Nuveii, you have any final thoughts for us on that, and then we'll move on.
I mean, I don't know. I guess you guys did kind of cover like most of the stuff that I was.
I'm gonna let you go first next time.
I mean, if they do revamp Gambit, just for the one time and like try to bring it back and then focus on PvP. I mean, obviously that would be really nice, but like at the same time, I just kind of feel like to keep Gambit alive and in a healthy state, they would obviously have to keep updating it, giving it new incentives. And, if they can balance the small updates for Gambit and then also keep a hard focus on, keeping PvP in a good state, like that's nice and all. But what if they, I mean, maybe like, I don't know, maybe I just think too like pessimistically, but I mean, I just feel like
for a good reason.
They might, yeah, right? Like, I feel like they might just mess up something with Gambit. Like what if they just throw it in and like everyone just like hates it, like all the time, all the resources, everything was just wasted, and then like they're gonna be like, oh, like let's try to fix it, and then instead of focusing on PvP, they're trying to like save their idea that they had with Gambit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be the glass half full guy here and try to balance that out. And let's just like I'm cautiously optimistic that we with the Sony money now and with just I mean it does seem like an overall better commitment to the game, to PvE. I mean, I know the bar is kind of low commitment wise, direction wise for PvP and for Gambit, but we have seen some improvement there. So hopefully, that continues to trend up and we'll kind of go from there. So
like I said, I hope it's so good to where if PvP is terrible, I can go play that instead.
Yeah, no doubt. That's true.
I hope it's so good, but
yeah,
I doubt it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We got a bunch of pessimists in here right now, chat. Y'all got to liven them up.
You have to be realistic. You have to be realistic.
No, you're right. You're right.
I played D1.
Come on. I'm the one that put out the tweet. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't think that we were valued as PvP players by Bungie.
Hey,
I'm right there with you. We know the track record. I mean, we got to be that guy sometimes, most definitely. But I want to continue to root for Bungie because I don't think that.
I mean, I hope they prove us wrong.
Yeah,
like I hope.
Yeah. I want to continue to root for Bungie, most definitely. They can't do it like with all pessimism, right? So okay, cool. All right, so we've got a couple topics. Let me pull that back up here. I wanted to kind of review the big TWAB was the one that was on, I think it was like 210, the 210 TWAB, and I wanted to review a couple things from there just to give us a little bit of context, and then we'll get into some of the topics that we had for today. We're getting kill trackers on all weapons, so you won't have to masterwork them in order to get the kill tracker on that. The homie Gary in the Discord ended up telling me and reminding me that we'll get a kill tracker for Thorn now. I know a lot of folks. Nuveii is a Thorn enthusiast herself, so I'm sure she's happy about that. You know what would be dope? Just a side note, if we got a kill track, no, I probably wouldn't be. That would suck. People would just farm it. But I wanted kill trackers for private matches so that we can get that on for like sweats and scrims and that sort of thing. But that'll never happen, obviously. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. Kamiya was talking about fusion rifle. I didn't even realize until I reread through this TWAB the fact that fusion rifles, even in PvP, are getting a buff. Is that correct? Increased high impact fusion rifle damage per bolt from 62 to 64. This doesn't seem like a lot, but it allows more rolls to cross bolts to kill thresholds. Increased high impact fusion rifle PvE damage bonus from 15% to 20%. Okay. So basically, I mean, high impact fusion rifles are just going to become, more viable again. People don't use high impact fusion rifles in PvP that much anymore, right? We see a lot of Cartesian coordinates. We see some null exposures. You know, so it looks like we're really kind of like settling into a fusion rifle meta for another season. It sounds like, right?
Clark, what archetype is the main ingredient role?
That's a precision. Yeah, that's a middle impact. Clark says real quick, we're gonna have a section specifically for questions, Clark, but I'll go ahead and read it out because I saw it highlighted. Is the discussion gonna cover oppressive weapons versus annoying and how that applies to exotics in particular? We'll come back around to that. So why don't you ask that question at the end, Clark, during like the third segment, and we'll definitely get to it. Because that's a great question. Let's see. I saw a couple other things that kind of jumped out at me. I'll just mention this. This is not with regards to PvP, but PvE. But primary damage is going to increase versus minors in PvE by 40%. I think that's so dope. I love using. I'm a primary whore. Like I want to, if I use it a lot in PvP, I want to use it a lot in PvE, and I want to feel powerful there too. A lot of people want to feel powerful. They want to bring their weapons over from PvE to PvP and feel powerful. I want to do the same thing. You know, I want to feel powerful in PvE as well. I want to use my hand cannon over there, and I've said it multiple times. And you know me, I can talk, so I don't want to get off topic. I've said it multiple times. I loved the modifier in D1, small arms. So we had rotating daily modifiers in strikes, and it was dope because we had great rewards like Imago Loop hand cannon that everybody wanted, myself included, that was at the end of one of the strikes, and you would farm that. Like after you finish up your day of PvP, you would go farm the Imago Loop strike, try to get the Imago Loop, and then go to bed, right? I mean, after you watch Guardian Theater. Theater. You know?
After.
Exactly. And so, like, I learned to use my hand cannon better by using it in PvE, and I loved small arms because you got an increase to primary damage that day for that modifier, and that was dope. So, great to see that. Chaperone's going to get a reduced passive range buff from 2 meters to 0.5 meters. Thank God. Duality is unfortunately about to take a hit in the slug mode and going to reduce the slug mode range from 1.25 meters to 0.5 meters. Terabah is going to get a quality of life update improvement. So now it reduces the perk progress by half instead of clearing it on weapon stow. So you can stow it and still keep some of that perk progress to get what is it? Ravenous Beast. Terabah is becoming it's gonna be meta next season. Like
I don't think it needed that buff, but it's welcoming.
I mean, it's gonna it's gonna be strong meta. It's gonna be strong meta. As somebody I was talking to yesterday was just like, all I saw was Terabahs, Tony. That's all I saw. I'm just like, is something happening to it? And I'm just like, it's getting an update next season.
Anything that gets people to use a primary.
That's true. That's true. Man. It's an amazing primary, a beautiful primary too. So I'm looking forward to it. Even though I know I'm about to get drilled with it. Let's see. Lumina's about to get that stat buff. That's exciting because Lumina is one of those few hand cannons I haven't put quite a few kills on. It's a fantastic hand cannon. So it's about to get that stat buff along with several other weapons, legendary weapons, Dire Promise. What is it? Dire Promise. I mean, I could scroll. Oh, it's right here. Dire Promise, Waking Vigil, Jack, Queen, King, and Spare Rations. So we anticipate that we're going to get our Spare Rations back again.
That weapon has not been reprised yet. So
it hasn't.
It could be possible.
I anticipate that it will be, and it'll probably be in Gambit, to be honest, since next season's a Gambit season, right? Sure. Let's see. Fellwinter's is about to get 15% increase to the spread angle, so it's potentially not going to be as dominant. I think Found Verdict is the better shotgun now. It's the best shotgun in the game, but I think next season 100% Found Verdict, unless they introduce another better aggressive frame shotgun. I think it's going to end up being Found Verdict. Let's see. Ooh, looks like I didn't even see that Ikelos SMG actually was getting some perk changes to it, so that's interesting. Is there anything else? Let me see. I just want to grab some context here. I think the only other two things I saw, just to say it, is Tap the Trigger is getting a nerf and Adagio, which is a perk not a lot of people use these days. So Adagio often felt like it changed the weapon subfamily to the next slower rate of fire. So basically when you get a kill, the shotgun shoots slower, but it does more damage. So now it has an increased duration of the perk from 5 seconds to 7 seconds, increased damage bonus from 25% to 30%. This is the one that stuck out to me. because it's kind of like a damage bonus and a killing wind where it increases the range stat. So now it adds +10 to the range stat, which I thought was actually kind of dope. And added a timer for quality of life to buff the text to make it easier to know when that perk was going to expire. So
that's a pretty good.
That's a good.
I might actually use it because the way I've seen it, like as it is right now, it's just like it just turns into an archetype of a weapon that's just not even good.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly what they said. I mean, keep in mind, aggressive frames. When you get a kill, it increases the rate of fire. You know, Adagio.
So it might be counterintuitive to
exactly. So it was a weird perk to begin with. So I'm glad to see that they kind of adjusted. They kept the kind of identity of the perk, but then they've made some changes to make it a little bit more desirable or look a little bit more desirable. So we'll see. It does look like with that +10 range stat boost, I think along with the increase in damage, I mean, you might actually be kind of mapping. You know, you might actually be kind of mapping, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Adagio end up on an aggressive frame. Can you imagine that? It ends up being on an aggressive frame. I think that might happen. Check it. Aggressive frames get an increased rate of fire. Adagio decreases the rate of fire. It might actually get just the same rate of fire for the second shot, but now you get +10 to the range stat and a buff to your damage. You might actually be mapping, which makes me scared of Kami, to be honest, because Kami is an extremely good shotgunner, and I think he shotgunned me probably 6 or 7 times, killed me more than I've killed him. So
when it works, yeah.
It's when it does damage.
Let me see. The only other things I'll say is special weapon tuning. They're looking at snapshot. They're looking at snapshot. They better not touch on snapshot on everything else, but they're looking at snapshot on sniper rifles. They're looking at special ammo economy changes if needed. So it looks like it's kind of just like a standby on that.
They're kind of just like monitoring.
Yeah. Exactly. So those are kind of like the biggest things. I will say this just because I love it. I love the chattering bone. Chattering Bone is the lightweight pulse rifle from
Last Wish.
It has never had its time in the sun. I've got some nice rolls of that gun, man, for real. So I was really happy to see that balance tuning for primary weapons, looking at you, pulse rifles, lightweights in particular. I've got some
450
monsters.
Lightweights needed help for so long.
They've never been viable, dude. They have never been viable in PvP or PvE.
They've only been viable in the beta of D2. That's it.
Yep. So glad to see that. So that's kind of just the recap right there. We're going to start out. So we already talked about like Gambit over PvP with regards to the refresh next season. We're going to start out with what initially started the conversation between myself and Kami, special ammo. Special ammo and special weapon usage versus primary usage. So we'll start with, you know what? We're going to start with Nuve. So Nuve, like, what are your thoughts on where special ammo is now, how easily it's able to be kind of acquired in PvP, and special ammo usage versus primary, weapon usage in PvP, like right now? What are kind of your thoughts, and where do you see that standing? Where do you see kind of the direction of it hopefully going, in your opinion?
I mean, I'm not too sure, because in some ways I feel like it's all right, and then in some ways I just think it's like kind of just a mess. And I'm trying to think. It's
okay. Take your time.
Like, for example, I feel like in trials, like, special ammo isn't really an issue. Like, so overall in Destiny, I feel like green and secondary weapons are used way more than primary weapons, just because of their strength. Like, snipers, shotguns, fusions, they all one hit. So a lot of people go with that, and especially because of the sandbox that we're in right now, with invis being a super big thing, it's even easier to get kills with those guns right now. And then with scavengers, especially in game modes like 6v6, you can keep going and going and going and just keep getting kills and pretty easily. And even in trials, although I feel like in trials, because your green ammo gets cut in between rounds, I feel like it's definitely helped the situation there.
Definitely.
But still, even then, it kind of might just slightly be an issue. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure like what would be better if green stayed the same where it is right now, or if it got, if anything, probably reduced to only 1. I feel like that would encourage more primary play, and in return kind of slightly increase the skill gap in PvP.
Okay. Con, what do you think?
I think to answer the whole special ammo question, I guess you kind of also have to look at, well, what are the primaries that people are using that do stand out against special weapons? For instance, Endless is a pretty fair map. It was the Trials map and everything. I brought up Trials Report. I saw, okay, Chaperone, yeah, that's, really good slug. Honestly, one of the best shotguns in the game. Main ingredient, yeah. Ruin's Driver, oh, I have a lot of words when it comes to Lunar Fusions. But I think when it comes to special, right, it's really hard to fine tune and balance. If we go the crate option, it can really, for instance, back in D1, we used special ammo crates until year 3, where they just basically remove special outright. And the only way you could get special was through crates. I don't think we need to do that. I think the scav nerf is a good step in the right direction. It's just difficult to balance because you have to think about 6s. Yes, I think special is definitely really problematic in 6s because of how much you get. For instance, in something like comp, special's slightly less of a problem, but it's still kind of an issue in trials. Special is going to be dominant because it's elimination. And people are going to go with what kills the fastest.
Yep. So for context, what was the? I mean, I already know what it is, but I'll just give you the option just to let us know. Can you refresh us on what the change to special ammo is?
Instead of getting, so let's assume you have scav on, right?
Yep.
Instead of getting +5 or +6 because you killed someone who had like 20 in their main ingredient for whatever reason, you're only going to get +2. Assuming you have scav on.
Gotcha. So you pick up 1 by default, and then if you have scav on, you pick up a maximum of 2.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Right now, I don't even know because I never use scavs. But right now, if somebody has like 20, and you don't have a scav on, do you pick up more than 1 if you don't have a scav on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you do.
So now it's just basic. Okay. That was I personally like these very incremental changes versus like major changes, so that you can kind of see how the meta like stabilizes, and then if need be, make another kind of incremental change. So that's actually dope. So again,
I'll give them credit where it's due. Like that's kind of good.
Yeah. So if you didn't catch what Kami said, the special ammo change is that no matter how much ammo Lu drops, because Lu, if you see him, he only uses his special ammo, but like he's a main ingredient enthusiast. That's what LunarZ is. So he's got 20 in his main ingredient, you know what I'm saying? And I take out Lu by the grace of God 1 time out of the 9 times he kills me. Then he's gonna drop 20. But I'm only going to be able to pick up 1 if I don't have scav on. And if I do have scav on, the maximum I'm going to pick up is 2. So it just standardizes it as opposed to what it is right now where you pick up, a decent percentage of whatever somebody drops if they, again, have like 20 in the ammo. So Lu, what are your thoughts with regards to this?
Like regards to special weapons, like overall.
Yeah. So you said you like the incremental change to special ammo and what they've done, what they're doing with it in Witch Queen. Do you think that they need to go farther? Do you think that?
I mean, because to be honest, like, I guess for a little bit of time, I've been of the opinion that special ammo economy was fine until I put on a LunarZ driver and just put on Fusion Scav. And it's just like, dude, I'm getting 2 shots for a weapon that shoots airplanes at people and doesn't flinch. It's like in 6s, you can essentially just run around the whole game without using a primary, because especially like in PvP, like people are just gonna value the weapons that delete you the fastest, right?
True. Yeah, of course.
So all you're gonna pick up is special ammo. I mean, you might run into that player that uses double primary, but let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 they don't know what they're doing. They don't know that double primary is like kind of bad. So, but I guess the one thing I do appreciate with special weapons is that they do offer like a powerful, I guess, way to take out multiple people and outplay people. But my problem with special weapons is that if it comes down to like in a situational like sense, right? Every situation, a special weapon will be the answer to your problems, right? It's just like, should I use my special weapon? And the answer to that question is yes, 95% of the time, right? Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where I stand on it. Obviously, I hate special weapons. If it was up to me, there would be a PvP mode where I don't have to deal with them. But you know, gotta be more feasible, and instead of just saying outright remove them, what can we do to temper them, right? But I think there'll just always be a problem in something like Trials or something, as long as the mode is elimination, because let's be honest, like a weapon that just deletes you instantly is just going to always be favored.
Why would you use anything else?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well,
especially
I mean,
like when
go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, you've heard me say it before in community customs. It's just like if you're sniping, like you are literally hurting your team if you don't get that sniper ammo out every round first. Like your primary is in trials. Your primary, if you're sniping, your primary is your sniper. Like get your two out. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the one hit kill at range, and then worry about your primary. That's kind of your job. So man, you raised so many things. So you raised so many things that like I just wanted to. So one, you know, like how can we go about ensuring that trials as an elimination mode, or should trials just, you know, like, are we moving more towards, should we move more towards like an objective mode? Should we move
I mean,
away?
Bungie's experimenting more with that. So,
that's true. That's true. Should we move away from elimination? You know, I guess the overarching like thing that I'm thinking is like how trials as an elimination mode ends up exacerbating special ammo issues, whereas, you know, those issues, you know, aren't as bad in sixes. I think the only reason they maybe are as bad in sixes is because you have so much more special ammo that drops in sixes, you know. But special ammo in trials is, you said it, you know, it's because they're one hit kill weapons, right? And a lot of them are really impactful at range. Snipers, LunarZ, you know what I'm saying? Even some fusion rifles, you know? And so, you know, how do you go about, you know, balancing the sandbox and special weapons versus primary weapons when you have a mode like Trials, in-game PvP, where special weapons are even more impactful there simply because of the elimination format. So it's tough. Like it's tough. It's tough. I've thought about, you know, like kind of like the vote system, you know, to kind of say, oh, okay, we're not going to use a LunarZ, you know, everybody gets like one vote or something like that. We're not going to use LunarZ.
Like the gentleman's rule right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Gentleman's agreement.
Rule. We're gonna wave it off. We're gonna wave it off. It's it's not an easy predicament, most definitely. But I guess
it's definitely a slippery slope for sure.
It is. Yeah. It is a little bit. And I think that Bungie really does need to firmly kind of think about the direction of just special weapons in PvP, and then, you know, kind of get a firm what am I trying to think, vision for where special weapons should be in PvP. Stick with that shit. And then like just let that vision flow through every decision that they make, you know, with regards to the sandbox. So I don't know. I guess I could go ahead.
I'm gonna say right now, if they care about like any sort of environment for meaningful play, being multiple crits in and getting sniped or Lawrence through flinch, that can't be happening.
God, yeah.
Well, to be fair, Lawrence is a very heavy outlier. That's the crazy thing about Lawrence.
That's a power weapon in the special spot.
It is,
like really.
You can do the exact same thing of Arbalist, honestly.
Yeah.
And like, especially when connections play a huge part as well. Like, obviously, like, you know who's like Sergio is, like, he's one of the best players in the game, and he's unkillable if he's got a sniper out.
Yeah, I mean,
because on his end, he doesn't receive flinch with the sniper, so he hits you through flinch every time. So it's very annoying to play against snipers and long range outliers, because it's just like there's the off chance that they will hit the shot through flinch.
Yeah,
especially like they seem to always hit it, especially in a pivotal point in Trials match where it matters the most, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like really triggering, because it's just like, I didn't do anything wrong. my primary's hitting for full damage, right?
Yep. So I'll toss this to Nuveii. This question right here. How would you then address balancing primaries to incentivize folks to use them more over their special weapons? Because I think it's a two-pronged attack right here if we're talking about the sandbox and special weapons versus primary weapons and ensuring folks that, you know, use their primaries a little bit more. It's both addressing special weapons and, for example, special ammo and how prevalent it is, how frequently it drops, you know. It's both that, but it's also like we can't talk about this without talking about, you know, in some sense buffing primaries, or at the very least making them more attractive to folks. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, honestly, the only way that I see, you know, people or you know, to get people starting to use like their primaries a little more is to, I mean, I don't know any direct changes that they could do to primaries themselves, really. Like, just off the top of my head, I can't really think of any. But what I could think of right away is just obviously, like, you know, what we were talking about earlier, that in every situation you're in, you think, oh, like, am I going to use my special? Like, yes, 95% of the time, right? And it's because they're so strong, and a lot of people use these like select few special weapons, like especially that are very strong, right? Like LunarZ or like fusion rifles, right? They're very strong, and I mean, you know, you could be one shot, still win a fight with it, just because it's you know, some of them are pretty busted. So I feel like going to the root of the problem, which is just because like, and I was thinking about this like as we were talking, that I don't think green ammo is necessarily like a super big issue. I think it's just the select few guns that are just so strong with so much ammo that just cause like just a tilt on the scale, right?
Yeah.
Just let me use my green, let me use my secondary, and like just fuck my primary, right? Like, let me just not use it whatsoever. So I feel like if they get these few guns just in check a little bit, make them overall just a little more balanced, such as like fusion rifles with super long range, or like things like LunarZ that have super high aim assist, or snipers that have really high aim assist and how you don't get flinch. I feel like fixing those issues would be fixing the problem from the root, because then it wouldn't be like, hey, let me use my green or let me use my special ammo in every situation. It might be, you know, my special ammo might not help me in this situation. I need to use my primary now.
Okay. I mean, what like do you think so you don't have any particular, you know, ideas or thought about a lot about like how they would, you know, buff primaries in order to incentivize folks to use them?
I mean, honestly not really. Like, I can't really think of anything just like off the top of my head that they could do, because I just feel like I mean, I feel like special ammos are just so, or special weapons are so like just overpowering in PvP that they kind of have to do a change to that first, you know, at the very least.
Okay, fair enough. Kam, what do you think, sir?
Oh, okay. So I'll approach this from 3 angles, right? So looking at special weapons, I'd say shotguns are kind of, if you don't have opening shot, you're just throwing. Don't shotgun unless like you're using a slug, right? Snipers need snapshot. I'm pretty sure when it comes to other special weapons, you can kind of get away with, you know, using whatever perk combinations you want. I'm sure, you know, with fusions especially, or grenade launchers, there's some go-tos that are like, okay, you need to use this. But when it comes to the whole primary versus special, right? Let's think about the primaries that are doing well, like Last Word, or, you know, explosive rounds, Fatebringer, or DMT. Those primary weapons aren't necessarily, I think it's a mix of they're doing well because they are strong, but also because they're annoying to go up against. Other primaries can't really compete.
Yeah.
The amount of times that someone slides me with explosive Fatebringer, I watch just my crosshair go from, you know, one side of my monitor to the next.
It's like some,
and you're telling me
monitor is being shaken by an earthquake or something. Like,
yeah, like I quite literally hear an earthquake at the bottom of my house. How am I supposed to compete against that?
Yeah.
Or, okay, this guy with DMT, he's not going to miss a single crit. He's hitting me for, you know, 80, then, you know, 90 damage just because he's just stacking up crits. What am I supposed to do? Or Last Word. Someone slices me a Last Word, I just give up. I don't even try fighting back.
I don't. I was facing Leclerc in trials the other day, man. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Like, those are the primary weapons that are like, okay, even if I have a special weapon, even if I'm trying to play primary versus primary, it just causes frustration.
Yeah.
Should we move in that direction where everything's like Ace of Spades, like tier, 5x5 multi-mac terrible level. No, I don't think we should do that. But also at the same time, let's look at the special weapons that are, I guess, outliers, special weapons that are like average or decent, right? I wouldn't say if you're dying to a Fellwinters, especially at this point in time, I feel like that's a position like that's more so your fault than it is, oh, Fellwinters is overpowered. You're not getting killed from 10 meters.
Yep.
You kind of just ran out to, mid. You ran it down, and you got shotgunned, and that's on you.
Yeah, or you had the wrong weapon out, but you're obviously going right up on a corner, Yeah. Okay.
So it's very difficult to find out, do we buff everything to Ace of Spades level, or do we nerf special weapons? When I would say, shotguns, they already kind of struggle a bit.
Yeah.
Snipers, if you don't have snapshot, and even on M&K, if you're M&K sniping, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage.
Yeah, to a degree. Even though, I mean, those hitbox remain pretty fat, but yeah, to a degree. I'll say this. Man, what was I gonna say? Okay, my next question for you guys that just came up in my mind. So shotguns have gotten like several incremental nerfs. Since February, I go back to this all the time because I'm about to drop this shotgun video this weekend. February of 2020. February 2020, that was the big shotgun change, where it changed the aim assist values for shotguns, separated out the sub archetypes of shotguns, and the pellet spreads for it, and et cetera, et cetera. I could go back and read it if we wanted to, but basically all these incremental changes with shotguns have made shotguns, I think you guys would agree, less consistent from Forsaken until now. For example, Forsaken, when shotguns were legitimately mapping, like super consistent. I was sliding in and just killing everybody, right? I mean, everybody was. So what are your thoughts about, I mean, even the wording, hold on, it's like right here. What are your thoughts about Bungie choosing to balance weapons by changing their levels of consistency? Especially decreasing their level of consistency, because I think they even said that. Hold on for a second, let me find it. Legendary weapons, because I want to make sure I read the exact words of what they said. Control F, Tony, you boomer. Control F.
Got the video card out here.
Yeah, come on.
Video card, man.
Come on. So Fellwinter's Lie intrinsic perk makes it far too consistent and lethal compared to similar shotguns, and it's hard. It's had plenty of time to shine. So what do you think about, again, like this is for everybody, them using the level of consistency of a weapon and changing that, on a scale in order to balance in the sandbox?
Yeah, I don't agree with it at all. Because like that's when they originally like gave DMT the first nerf. Like, imagine if no one ever used that gun, right? And then someone's going to Destiny for the first time, and they've played Halo before, so they've used the DMR or the BR, right? And they use a DMT because Bungie does present it as a hipfire weapon. They present it as a hipfire weapon and put bloom on it, man. Right? And that's kind of like the same thing, but with like Fellwinters. Like, I want to get into like the philosophy of like why they're so against consistency in their game.
And tell us quickly, for folks that may not realize, like, what's bloom?
Bloom is basically like, how people say like ghost bullets or whatever in a game. Basically, your accuracy cone is spreading out the more you shoot your guns. So hand cannons, for example, you notice the reticle spreads out wide, right? Every gun has bloom in this game, but hand cannons seem to have it the worst because no one using hand cannons,
I mean, come on. But then again, to be fair, like hand cannons are the most used weapon, most used primary in the game, and it always has been, So
yeah, and like I guess that's kind of like another. It might be off topic, but another thing that made me think of was when crossplay when they started announcing crossplay, they changed M&K, right? So M&K had a 40% stability buff and accuracy buff, and then they have that, or like it's 20 now.
So a 40%, 40% accurate, or like you said,
it was 40%. 40% accuracy and 40% stability.
Versus controller,
versus
correct?
controller.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so they cut that in half, and I'm thinking, y'all really put more bloom on mouse and keyboard for it to not be true crossplay, bro. Like, if you notice, like, before, if you've ever used spare in the past, like, before the change, if you jumped in the air, every shot would hit, right? Like, all your crits would register. But now, if you try to jump in the air with a hand cannon, you start getting bloomed off, right? Where it's just like, these changes, like, don't change how people play the game. It just makes it feel terrible. So that's kind of why I'm against. That's kind of why I'm against, like, nerfing consistency, right? Because, like, with shotguns, it's like, I'd be okay if they had low range. If I aimed at someone's center mass, that should be a kill. I'd be okay if shotties had less range.
Yep.
If that meant I could kill someone if my aim was true.
Yep.
But that's just not the case,
yep.
right?
Yep, and I completely agree. Like, I've said it many times. And so again, like, you know, bloom is you know, just because you aim a weapon somewhere, just a general sense, just because you aim a weapon somewhere doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to land 100% of the time exactly where you aim it. You know, there's just a chance based on bloom that it's going to land somewhere else within that cone of accuracy. So, and I agree again with Lou, and I'll give it to Nuveii and then to Kami. That I'm completely okay with shotguns having like 4 or 5 meters, you know, and then some serious damage fall off after that. As long as within that 4 to 5 meters, as long as I aim that center of mass, it kills 95% of the time, 95% of the time, you know. I don't want to have to follow it up with a melee or have to.
Because it's like, you know, I could be happy with that because that also kind of increases the skill gap a little bit. It's about who's going to have better aim up close, right? And who's going to be
better about closing distance.
Close the gap.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
It's like players wouldn't, I mean, obviously some players will kind of be upset at the range, but it's just like, if you told them that their shotgun would kill in that distance, if you center mass, like, people would be happy. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously not the case.
I think the strong point that you made that really took it home for me, you know, is you said that it's like changing the consistency of the weapons is not going to change how people play the game. It's just going to make the game feel worse to play. God damn. This dude out here preaching. Holy, Nuveii, what you think, girl?
I mean, like LunarZ just summed up like all my thoughts. Like,
right. He kind of hit it.
No, yeah, like yeah. He like you seriously have like really good points in like everything that you said.
Okay, look, we don't need him to get a fat head. Calm down, chill. He's still a shitter. Come on now, go ahead, please.
Hey, it's me.
No, but I mean, I completely agree with you, and I also feel like it really does like increase the skill gap because once again, you know, you can also, because you know, an inconsistent shotgun, you can close the gap and you can do everything right, but it's like you can shoot and it's like you don't even know like when, like, you know, what the distance is to shoot from, and it just, I don't know, like I know for me, like, it just messes me up like a whole bunch where I shoot and, you know, one time it maps and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like, if my shotgun mapped from that range every time, like, you know, I would be shooting it more from that range every single time. And
then you're up close and it blinks, right?
And yeah, exactly. And it's like you can't, it lessens the skill gap because then it just becomes like a guessing game of like, am I gonna take the chance to shoot my shotgun or am I gonna wait? And you know, that can sometimes change like a whole situation or like the whole outcome of a gunfight.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, it's difficult. I'll say this, and I've said it before as well. It's difficult to develop consistency around your particular playstyle if your weapons and your build isn't consistent. If there's only a certain degree, the level with which you can be consistent is determined by the least consistent thing in your build, you know? Yeah. So if your shotgun, your hand cannon is only but so consistent in engagements, then that is the maximum degree of consistency that you yourself can be as far as a player. You know, it's your limit is right there.
It's like, what's the point of mastery when you're fighting the game at that point to try and like perfect your craft, so to speak.
Yep.
It kind of also reminds me of like, you know, like middle tree arc staff. Like I would, even though it's not done intentionally, and I know that, but middle tree arc staff is one of the most inconsistent supers. Like I've been maining it. Oh my god! Because look, and here's the thing, I'll tell you, because it's so fucking good. It's so good when it works.
It is.
You literally can win entire get 1v3s. You can get reses. You can do anything.
That super's god mode.
Yeah, like literally nearly anything under the sun you can do with that super. But then you block and someone shoots you with a sniper and you just die to the architect.
Yeah. It's like I think the bullets get caught. I think the bullets get caught in there with you. I think in your little bubble. That's the only thing I can think about. I killed somebody the other day with it, and I'm just like, I guess we're good.
Middle Tree Archstrider has that problem, and so does Antaeus Wards.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
Yeah.
Com,
it kind of reminds me of that.
Com, what do you think? Consistency as a scaler to change to nerf or buff weapons in the sandbox.
I mean, we all knew Felwinters was going to get a nerf. I'm just kind of okay. So you brought up the whole this week of Bungie they did with shotguns, where they nerfed shotguns like a month before Felwinters came out and everything, introduced trials, and we were like, okay, you know, another shotgun nerf, it's whatever. Then they introduced Felwinters, more or less the best shotgun. If you don't have a 5 out of 5 or even 4 out of 5 Mindbenders, just use Fel. And they made it available to everyone. I think there was like 1 season or 2 seasons where you couldn't get it. But they remedied that, you know, they made up for it. And if you had a Felwinters, you were fine. You didn't need to go get a Fel Verdict. You didn't need to use like a 7th Seraph. Everyone was, you know, it was fair. It was equal. You know, you have the opportunity to use it. It wasn't like, oh, you didn't get lucky sitting in Hall of the Layer forever. And so nerfing Felwinters is just, I guess it's just them continuing their precedent of, we don't want people to do a little too well. We don't want consistency in our game. I would have less of an issue of crossplay if M&K was where it was before. On 5, you know, controller players getting above 20 cents, that's great. Traction, that's great, right? But why do you have to nerf M&K's consistency to make controller even more appealing? That also goes in the whole shotgun issue. I can shoot my shotgun from, you know, 5-6 meters. It doesn't matter what I have. Opening shot, slide shot, full choke, accurate. It doesn't matter. It still might shoot marshmallows, heal my target, and then I just get bot walked by a guy who has a 1 out of 5, you know, equal shotgun. He has smooth 4. He doesn't even know. And the only difference is that when he kills me, he turns around real slow, and I'm just kind of like, right, better input device. And it shouldn't come down to that. It really shouldn't be a case of, oh, I'm using M&K, I have to, you know, pray to like 5 different gods, and, you know, also pray to Bungie too, in hopes that my shotgun kills. Meanwhile, this guy's just bot walking around. He, you know, 8 meters me, and I'm just like, what am I doing wrong?
Okay, well, to be fair, I'm gonna balance it on the other side. To be fair, you know what I'm saying? Like, Bungie is not balancing M&K versus controller around you, around me, around Lou. You know, they're balancing it around the average player, the average or below average player that plays PvP. Because I mean, how many times have we watched Guardian Theater and you see, oh man, I watched one last night. I forgot about that. I watched one last night. And how many times it's just like, yo, it's cheating. You see how fast that guy's swapping? I can show you. Do you how fast the one I watched last night? Do you see how fast that guy's swapping weapons? You know, he's cheating, man. He's cheating, man. Did you just see that? He just dodged right there, and he had a different weapon out, and then he just stood there and shotgunned me. It's because I knew you weren't going to be able to track me. But my point is, again, I think that was probably necessary, to be honest. On my end, again, they aren't balancing M&K versus controller for people like us. They're balancing it for the average players that will 100%, I see it, they struggle against folks that are on M&K, the average M&K player. So
people swore up and down that I used a Zim on console. Like when they saw me like shoot my hand cannon, because in D1 it was a common technique to flick shot, right?
Yeah. Yep.
To manage recoil.
Yep.
People thought I was cheating on a Zim, bro. It's like, dude, have you never seen anyone flick shot a hand cannon before? And it kind of just opened my eyes on like, wow, people really don't play PvP, bro. Like, or watch like good players play the game.
That's true, right? But I'll also add this as well, and we'll move on kind of to the next thing. That it's even less common right now, I feel like, and maybe you guys can like tell me whether I'm tripping or not, but it's even less common to flick shot with a hand cannon because a lot of M&K folks maybe played other games where they're more like tracking with their hand cannon. you know? And
flick shotting was mainly like a controller thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like all of us, like OGs that came from a lot of hand cannon in D1 still kind of transitioned over to M and K and still kind of shoot the same way, right? As opposed to, you know, other folks that maybe started using hand cannons a little more heavy in Destiny 2, you know, where flicking is a little less prevalent, because people, you know, talk about my flick shots. Like now I get questions all the time about, you know, how I shoot my hand cannon. So yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that.
I literally have no clue myself, man. Seriously. Like I said, you know, Destiny 2 was the first like hand cannon game for me, period. I'm sorry, not hand cannon game for me, but Destiny 1 was the first hand cannon game for me. But Destiny 2 is the first M and K.
Yeah, I guess that's
game
fair
for me. So I literally developed everything around it.
Yeah, I've never used a weapon like a hand cannon like in Destiny and any other FPS game.
Yeah.
Every other FPS game is just like pure tracking and then like pulling down on the stick to manage recoil or something.
Yep. Cool. All right, so the next thing, let me see, that Com I think may have mentioned is, what does everybody think about the fusion rifle meta? That it seems like it's kind of here to stay. Have we heard anything about them pulling back things like the god tier main ingredient that everybody has?
They are nerfing tap the trigger, but it was kind of like it's kind of Bungie's fault that Xur even sold that combination, because tap the trigger is not on fusions anymore for a reason, right? It's like a tap the trigger main ingredient, you'll never not get one hit by it. Like hell, people have missed fusion bolts and killed me with that thing. It's like people are midair. It's like you should not have that kind of confidence midair with a fusion.
Yeah, they really
killing
do.
me from like
they
25 meters out, dude.
So for some context, that for folks that don't realize what we're talking about fusion rifles. We're talking about a particular fusion rifle, a precision frame fusion rifle, which is a mid-tier impact fusion rifle. It's not a light, it's not a less impact, it's not a high impact. It's just a middling impact precision frame. And Xur, a little while back, sold a particular roll of the main ingredient, which is an absolute god roll, extremely consistent. You can map people with it as well, but mostly it's just extremely consistent, like anywhere that you shoot it. And
I don't use fusions, and I picked that up.
So which perks on it, Lou, or anybody else? Because I'm not a fusion guy like that, but which perks on it make this particular fusion rifle stand out?
Under pressure gives it extra accuracy and stability, I believe, or maybe it's just accuracy.
It's accuracy and stability. Under pressure, for sure. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is stability.
Yep, it is.
Under pressure, because I know under pressure gives you extra accuracy, and then tap the trigger gives you extra stability and accuracy on trigger pull. And fusions also have an intrinsic perk, like I guess it has like intrinsic firmly planted, where if you crouch and shoot, it tightens the.
Is that true? All fusions have that intrinsic?
Yes.
I did not know that. Wow. So does that mean? So then my question is, does that mean? Oh, I have two questions, because again, I'm not a fusion, so you're educating me. So does that mean that when you get firmly planted on a fusion, that it doesn't do anything additional?
No, it stacks.
Oh, it stacks.
It stacks on top of the intrinsic, like I guess firmly planted that it gets.
Second question, is firmly planted active when you slide as well?
Yes.
Ooh-wee. I'm telling you, man. Ooh-wee. I deleted some god rolls, dog, but they gone now. All right. Okay.
Yeah, tap the trigger, like Clark said. It's opening shot for fusions.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Com, what do you think about this? So it just seems like they're doubling down on it. On fusion rifle meta, but they're nerfing tap the trigger, which takes the main ingredient a little bit out of the mix, and we'll see how much that is.
Main ingredient's getting all the attention, but people don't realize that fast firing fusions are also free as fuck right now.
Yep.
Especially the one from Garden of Salvation, the Zealot's Reward or whatever.
I got a god roll of that thing.
That's basically a main ingredient that fires like way faster. Right.
Yeah, and Cartesian is still Cartesian still. I mean, you're nerfing tap the trigger, but you still got under pressure high impact reserves. You know, and that's brutal as well. And on top of that, people, high impacts are getting that small buff, which on a shitty roll may not be that impactful, but on a god tier roll, it's going to map, man. It is going to map. We're getting that 2 additional damage buff per bolt, I believe.
I still feel like people won't use them, though.
Maybe. We'll see. Accelerated coils and a charge time masterwork.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, we'll see. We'll see. Com, what do you think about the fusion rifle meta and what seems like they're doubling down on?
I mean,
I'll be right back.
Trying to think. I used fusions back in D1 for there was the Thorn Quest and everything. I didn't have Atheon's epilogue, so I used the fusion rifle. And kind of in D2, like the most fusion I've ever used was like PvE or like 1K. So I don't, you know, once again, I'm very uneducated when it comes to, you know, what's good on fusion, what isn't good, and everything, what works, what doesn't work. All I can really speak of is, you know, my experience playing against fusions. I think fusions can either be the most inconsistent thing in the world or the most frustrating thing to go up against if they're consistent. Because there have been times where I've witnessed the bolts go past my head, or I know I only got hit by one, I get deleted.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I should be within primary range, right? You know, I'm trying to duel this guy from, you know, 30 meters. It doesn't matter because his fusion has 40 meters on it.
Yeah.
And so even though they're nerfing, you know, main ingredient, there's still a bunch of really good fusions. Like there's still the old Arantel roll. There's still Glaciocasm if people don't have that.
True.
Cartesian's still really good. Even Telesto. I remember going up against like a 3-stack of people just using Telesto in trials, and it's just crazy like what you can do with it, like how far the I guess bullets or whatever they're called.
Bolts.
Like, the bolts like stick to you, and it's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so is it going to be frustrating to play against? For sure, but I don't, like as we said, I don't know if that's going to be what it takes to make more people use them. I think it's still going to be a select minority.
Yeah, and so I'll add on to that, and then we'll give it to Nuve. You know, like I've said before, I like where fusions are right now. I think that there are some outliers for sure, but I love the fact that fusions, I mean, I speak for PC because I don't know how oppressive they are on console.
I play on PS5 sometimes. Yeah, it's pretty much all you see.
Oh, is that right?
I was about to say,
shit.
like on console,
ahead,
it's
Nuve,
like only fusions. Like like when Kami said it's like the minority, I was with like a fusion rifle in it, and normally like the main ingredient roll that they're sold.
Wasn't there a guy with like 150k fusion rifle kills? I don't remember which rifle it was, but it was like one particular person. I remember seeing them on Twitter.
On D2 or D1?
D2.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. It's OMG, it's Omar.
Yeah, it was that guy.
Yeah.
And people were just bringing up he has like 200k kills on his fusion.
Oh really?
He's got like over 100k on like the original.
There's a few people like that then, because I was thinking about someone else.
But I'm pretty sure that people hop on that guy's account and plays on it. I'm not sure.
100%. There's no way.
There's no way he has that much time on his hands.
Unless he's like sleeping and like playing at the same time. I mean, like I believe he uses a fusion rifle. Like he could be sleeping and still drop like 40 bombs every game.
Yeah, no. I have no. So we're talking about the #1 in kills in the world, by the way. OMG Omar or something along that line.
OMG, it's Omar. He's #1 in Crucible kills too.
Crucible kills is crazy for a long time, right? And no, I think I've played against him maybe once, but yeah, no, he is actually nice. He is actually nice with the fusion rifle, but yeah, it's likely somebody's probably hopping on his account too to get those additional kills while at least while he's taking a shit. I don't know how you would do both.
Yeah. The dude's got some wizardry that we don't know about.
For real, man. I'm telling you. All right, man. So, man, does that mean we got through fusions? Does anybody else have anything to add on fusion rifle meta? I guess. Oh, I'll finish that up. I'll finish that statement up. So it does seem like fusions. We'll see how it ends up playing out because they seem to be quite prevalent on console versus on PC where they aren't as prevalent. It's on PC. If we were talking about PCs within the context of if we were talking about fusion rifles just within the context of PC and PC lobbies, I think fusion rifles are in a great spot. We've got some outliers, but in general, like it's great to see fusion rifles consistent and in the meta. you know.
I guess this could just be me, but obviously, like, I've played controller like all my life until I started learning M&K. Like on controller, it's kind of hard to like get out of like a situation where you're about to get fusioned, right? Whereas on M&K, if you get caught in the open by a fusion player, you can slide on a dime in any direction. Whereas on controller, you kind of just have to sit there and like hope that they miss, or you take the death. Which is in like, I guess reticle friction plays a part as to why like fusions are so popular over there as well. Reticle friction will kind of just like keep you center mass, from my experience with the fusion, while you just have to like pull down on the stick to like manage the recoil, right?
Yeah. And if folks don't realize what Lou's talking about with regards to reticle friction, I think most folks do, is if you're on a controller, you have the aim assist, and the aim assist on controller versus M&K, which also has aim assist. But the way you think about it is the reticle friction is specific to controller, and that's how sticky it is once you cross over somebody's character model. So, okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll see how that ends up playing out. Again, I do feel like they're kind of doubling down on the fusion rifle meta, but we'll see how some of these like small changes and future changes that they make. I do assume that they're gonna make some additional changes, maybe later into the season of Witch Queen, definitely into 17, as maybe they try to rotate fusions out of the meta a little bit. But I don't see how, with how strong they are on console right now, that we'll still see a similar meta going into season 17.
Because as it is right now, it's like, fusions, are they really annoying to fight? Very much so. Would I consider them OP? Probably not.
Yeah,
because
not
like,
on PC.
Especially like, all I have to do is die to it once, and it's just like, I guess I'm playing cover for the rest of the game and baiting out fusion shots. Like, it's just like the way you have to play against a decent fusion player, it's very unfun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, if they're the most passive play.
Yeah, if they're disciplined, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Cool. All right. Next topic that I have for you guys, I think also coming from Com here, is, do snipers need an additional nerf?
They don't need a buff.
Com, since you came up with the topic, what do you think? Do snipers need an additional nerf? And let's keep in mind, for any future question, I always want to kind of keep this backdrop of on PC, console, controller, M&K, all four of those things. Kind of just keep those things in mind when we're answering.
I mean, okay, to consider everything, right? I think when it comes to snipers, especially, it's very hard to balance. They don't need a buff. Trust me, they really don't need a buff. If anything, you could say even on M&K, they could use like a slight nerf. I think Bungie even said, okay, we're gonna look at why is snapshot so prevalent. I think when it comes to the game, right, I don't think perks should be prevalent. I think someone should be able to pick up a sniper and still be able to succeed, right? But it feels like if you don't have snapshot, and if they do nerf snapshot, it's just going to be rewarding the people who just sit in the back more, and it's not rewarding aggressive sniping.
Yeah.
You want people to move with their sniper. You want people to actually, get up, and snapshot allows you to do that. Now, does snapshot allow you to do some crazy things? Yeah. But I think that's kind of something that Bungie has to look at and go, do we want people to, hang back more with their snipe, or what are we going to do with it? It's very hard to, figure out what's the best thing for everyone. Whether it's like controller, M&K, like it doesn't matter. I guess in the context of tourneys, even though I haven't played an tourney in a very long time, there really aren't any more M&K snipers. People used to think about, oh, boy, or panda, or potato. A lot of those people have either retired or they're just like, oh, if I can't beat Sergio, join him.
Yeah.
Right now,
people realize they can just have a controller sniper. It's just better too.
Yeah, even controller players can admit controller sniping is especially dumb, like incredibly dumb. And I think that's a bigger issue than M&K sniping ever was.
Okay, well let's keep in mind, like I don't want to necessarily talk about this from the perspective of like tourneys or sweats or folks of our skill level per se. I want to make sure that we're talking about. I mean, we can meet, talk about that as like kind of an addendum, right? But the average player, because most folks won't have the context or even care about the context of the like people we play with or tourneys and things like that.
I guess a good way to close things out is, I think it's less of a sniper issue. I think it's more so of a flinch issue when it comes to snipers.
Okay. You did see that they're trying to quote unquote figure out ways to put less flinch on primaries and increase flinch on snipers.
Yeah, that's kind of a huge
on
thing
specials. I'm sorry, special weapons.
About.
Special weapons. Yeah, Lou, what do you like? Go ahead.
They said they wanted to build. They said like in the future, they didn't give us too much detail, but they said in the future they want us to build into unflinching.
Yep.
So they know flinch is like a fundamental problem, or they're acknowledging it at least. So
True.
That gives me hope.
Nuveii, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, like I mean, I guess talking from a higher like a more competitive perspective, like I do agree with Cammy that like I do like I'm not super knowledgeable on snipers because I'm not a sniper main. But I know that a lot of people do complain about controller sniping versus like PC sniping. That even though sniping might be an issue on both platforms, but like controller sniping, like especially, is very dumb. And I guess like most people would like prefer have sniping on controller versus PC like 10 out of 10 times. Or sorry, not on MNK. Sorry.
Gotcha. So what you're saying basically is that there's a great disparity. I think what everybody's saying is there's a good enough. There's a pretty substantial disparity between the ease of use of snipers on controller versus
Console
MNK.
Versus MNK, yeah.
Gotcha.
And the other big thing is obviously just like flinch, like we were talking about earlier. It's like I two-tap someone in the head, I'm strafing, I'm dodging, and they just hit me, and it's like I just feel like it shouldn't happen. Like if you because like there have literally been times where it's like someone's not even looking at me. I slide them, two-tap them, they turn around and they hit me. And like that might be like just by complete chance, like complete luck. Maybe they just turned and they just shot and they just happened to hit me.
Yeah.
But I feel like especially on console, like that happens a lot. Like a lot more often than like what it actually should. And so I feel like maybe an increase in flinch, like what they said they were gonna do, might help situations like that just not even happen.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a tough one for Bungie, to be honest, because so right now I think there's an issue between with regards to sniping in general, right? Sniping in general, even on MNK, we've said it as well. Even on MNK, there's a bit of an issue with snipers, especially when we're talking about sniping against primary weapons, and how like I said, even on MNK, snipers will still whip around on you. You know what I'm saying? And just dome you when you've already hit them 2 shots with a hand cannon. So just a general concern with regards to sniping, and what you guys talked about as well, a little bit of the disparity between ease of use. Like I like not talking about how easy it is to snipe on controller versus MNK. I'm thinking more along the lines of it shouldn't be one of those things where if I'm gonna snipe, I'm just gonna be on controller for the average player.
I mean, yeah, because that's honestly like what it comes
down
to.
That sucks to have to make that sort of decision. If I want to snipe, if I want to snipe, I want to snipe. Why should it be easier on controller? You know what I'm saying, than it is on MNK?
Why should I give myself a harder time on mouse and keyboard?
Yeah,
like when I could do it easier on controller, right?
Yeah,
and I guess like what I want to like my input here is like, I guess I said in the chat, like with how flinch works in this game, the snipers that are hitting you through flinch aren't hitting that shot, right? That's flinch doing the work for them, right? So like I kind of want to like do an experiment for this. Like whenever I see a sniper in a lane, I just want to slide it and just not shoot them. I want to see if they hit the shot or not. And then just like over time test that to see like the percentage of headshots they hit versus the percentage of times they hit a body shot or miss, right?
Yeah.
Because I really do think flinch is doing the work for them. Which is why I think adding flinch won't really do anything.
Yeah, unless you fix flinch itself.
Yeah, fix flinch itself, but also keep in mind it isn't necessarily so much about like adding flinch per se. I mean, they said increase, quote unquote, increase flinch on special weapons, but that doesn't mean that they won't also like touch the direction of the flinch, like how the flinch actually ends up.
Like I feel like not enough people complain about it, so like you won't really hear about it, or it probably won't get changed if like I'm doubtful.
I mean the slight nerf where it added flinch. Oh, I noticed it on my shotgun. I noticed it. I don't know if snipers noticed it, but if I slide with my shotty, I get shot. It's going to go off to the left. even though I was just aiming perfectly center.
So yeah, like as I've said many times, flinch literally promotes bad aiming and bad crosshair placement, while players with good aim and good tracking are punished, right? So the snipers hitting you through flinch, they're not on your head when you slide them. They're not even aiming anywhere near your head, right? But then you flinch them onto your head. So it just creates like, I don't know, it's just a fundamental problem with flinch, in my opinion. If snipers didn't have flinch, I promise you, like, you wouldn't be getting hit through flinch. They wouldn't, because they actually have to like aim at you and track you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And obviously connection plays a huge part, because you know it got so bad to where in sweats, like I think Cammy can attest to this, people were literally VPNing.
It's Kami, by the way, Kami.
Yeah, Kami. People were literally VPNing to countries that they weren't from to get an advantage in sniping, right?
I mean, it wasn't even just sniping. I mean, back when I played, I was just the king of the NordVPN. My Titan was just unbeatable.
Yeah,
not for the right reasons.
When there's latency and you're a good sniper, you're unkillable, right? Because you don't get flinch like in time, right? So I guess that's just my thoughts on it. Until flinch, like the way the mechanic works, fundamentally changes, it'll just always be a problem. Like they're like adding more flinch to linear fusions. That's not going to do anything.
Well, like I said, I hope that they are also taking a look at how that flinch operates versus just increasing the flinch.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
right.
Okay. So some thoughts, kind of like springing off of that. So, snapshot. So they said, hold on, let me pull that back up. I've got a bunch of stuff kind of just sitting here to read just in case. What did they say exactly? They said we're looking at... I was looking for something else that I'll make sure that I mentioned. Okay, go. So special weapon tuning. Snapshot feels mandatory on sniper rifles in PvP. And so they're thinking about special weapon tuning with regards to that. So I hope that they touch, like, because the quick draw nerf, I loved quick draw on primaries, specifically on primaries. And I hope that snapshot, when they touch it specifically on snipers, like they're talking about. It's a problem specifically on snipers more than anything else, especially when it comes to, you know, like reducing the number of roles that people feel viable with in PvP on a sniper. And so I just hope that they don't touch snapshot to the point where it ends up affecting other weapons, whether it be other special weapons right now, you know, or specifically on primaries. So that's one concern that I have, and I hope that that's not something that we'll see. Did you have something to add, Lou, before I read something?
Yeah, I didn't like completely like read the verbiage or like read it verbatim, but I guess if they are to nerf snapshot, like the perk itself, the reason I could see, but like the reasoning behind that is because like I feel like it's probably just a skill gap thing where it's like snapshot, the good players know that snapshot is like key to like getting the first shot and target acquisition, right? Because like it's an FPS game, right? Like it's only natural that you want good reaction time and get the first shot off first, right? So I feel like that could be like a skill gap thing where, you know, players who have too quick of a reaction time are like too ahead of their competition. Maybe they don't like that. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up playing out. But like I said, I just hope that, you know, snapshot on snipers. I'm all for an incremental approach, especially when it comes to nerfing things. I don't care whether it's things that I don't like or do like. You know, I'm all for an incremental approach. So, like I said, I hope that that's
and if they
the
just
case.
Nerf snapshot, they'll just go for the next best in slot option, anyways.
Well,
like,
or we just like quick draw. Like, I just hope that we continue to see this thing where we have to build into that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I can respect that. It's like if you want fast, like target acquisition, you have to build into it.
Exactly. If you want fast gunplay, then, you know, like the majority of your mods end up, you know, kind of gravitating in that direction. Now, you know, then we have to ask the question, we got to make sure that we don't have to like literally use all of our build and put that all into one aspect of our gameplay. I don't want that. I do put quite a bit of my mods and that sort of thing, quite a bit of my armor energy you know, into my gunplay, and specifically into making sure that my hand cannon and my shotgun in particular, you know, come out fast and are as accurate as they can be. But you know, I still have a little bit of space left over for some charged with light mods and things like that. So, you know, I just hope they don't I like the concept of building into some of these things that in the past have been kind of freebies with one specific perk, quick draw, snapshot, things like that. But I just don't want it to become a thing where we have to build into everything. So, Zal, yo, big love. I appreciate you. Make sure that we get a shout out for Zal Reyna here. Thank you so much for bringing the community through. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate you. I see you at work right there, baby. I see you. So I want to make sure that we I read one thing. This is stuck in my head for a long time since I read it when I was playing Apex over the summer, and the disparity between controller and M&K is just always there. You know, the discussion, and so I just want to read one thing. To quote the designer behind Apex's aim assist, Raim Vinson, conceptually, aim assist sits at the input layer above balance design, above sandbox balance design. Using it as a difficulty lever is bad. Aim assist is for accessibility. It is for accessibility. And yes, it's easy for us to accidentally make it too good, and where that line is can be up for debate. So a lot of people, you know, it oftentimes, you know, the controller debate, controller versus M&K, ends up devolving into this hate for aim assist, and you know, this hate for, you know, ease of use and things like that. And it's so important for us to always remember that aim assist is about accessibility, folks. It's for, you know, our community members who are disabled, who are then, you know, relegated to using a controller in order to enjoy the game just as much as the rest of us, Because
Bungie, to bounce off of that, accessibility, Bungie cares a lot about accessibility as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So
I mean, that is food for thought.
Yep. So important. It's always something to kind of keep in mind. Cool. Let me see if there's anything else, and then we're gonna take some questions from the chat. 1 second. Let's see what else we got here.
No, I wanted to talk about a map rotation, because they are changing that next season for Trials.
For Trials? Oh yeah.
Yeah. We don't know what the maps will be, but they are changing
7
it.
set maps.
That's for sure.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's a great point. So that'll be so this right here, everybody, is going to be the last topic that we kind of free talk about between the four of us. And then you can go ahead and start dropping questions in the chat, and my mods, specifically I think Hal is in here, is going to be curating those questions, and then he'll send it to me by DM, and then we'll kind of clear some of you guys' questions. It's just at Hal, just like this right here. Hal, where you at? I can't get an at on Hal. Where are you at, Hal? Maybe the refresh did something to me. Where you at, Hal? Hal, you there?
Titan Haliex. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I refreshed. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So at Titan Halifax for questions, and then he'll curate those questions. He'll DM me, and then we'll have a discussion about it. So that'll be for the last half an hour, 45 minutes. But yeah, that'll be the thing. So, Lou wanted to talk about maps and map rotations in PvP, and how that kind of influences, I guess, the experience of, you know, Destiny PvP, our gameplay, how much we enjoy it. Yeah. So
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, with the map rotation as it is right now in standard PvP play, I find myself having to wanting to back out of 40% of my games, because it's just obviously yep. It's I dislike special weapons, and on top of that, a lot of the maps that came back from D1, they're favored heavily in the map rotation, right? So a lot of the D1 maps that play terrible in this game are favored in the map rotation. So every fight, I just feel all the angles on the map just congest you into shoddy fights or special weapon fights, right? And it's just it's hard to play on a map, or at least get a map where it's I have some breathing room to use a primary. and obviously good angles, and it just opens up a lot more room for diverse weapon play. So like I think ZK made this tweet a while ago. Like this was like a week or two after the Trials revamp or whatever. He basically said the Trials revamp doesn't matter if the map's shit. Right?
Yeah. Com, what do you think about that?
I think a lot of the maps that came back from D1 weren't scaled properly, and also they were built with class abilities weren't intended back in D1. Top tree Dawnblade wasn't a thing back in D1, so a lot of those maps are going to play poorly because they aren't scaled to 105 FOV, 60 plus FPS. They were made back in the day, like what 2014, 2015 at max.
30 FPS,
on 30 FPS, like 80 FOV.
Yeah.
And even the D2 maps, I'm pretty sure you remember, Tony, back when it was 4v4.
Yeah.
A lot of those maps are built with the intention of 4v4, and then they're like, let's make it 6v6. And so a lot of the maps that were meant for 4v4,
Blue.
A lot of these maps that were either built for 6v6 back in D1 or built for D2, 4v4, they don't play well because they're not modernized. They're not, updated.
Yeah.
Even a Vostok Eternity coming back, I guess Eternity is going to be a little bit better because it was always like on the bigger end. But Vostok's going to play worse than what it did before. I don't see how, unless they made like, changes, and even then, they might as well make a new map.
You really think the Vostok is? I thought Vostok is probably going to play pretty well right now. You really think? What do you think is going to make Vostok play worse than it did before?
I mean, I guess we did play Vostok in Forsaken when there was special weapons and the movement was a little faster.
Yeah,
but also, we didn't have a DMT. I guess hand cannons had, all the range in the world back then. Ace of Spades, NF.
Yeah.
Yeah, DMT would be a problem. Yeah, that and we're about to come up on a scout rifle meta straight up as well. So yeah. I guess we'll see. Because it's
just gonna be rapid fire scouts.
DMT is also getting nerfed, so we'll see how popular it continues to be.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to make a whole topic surrounding the last word, but I think we've kind of addressed like the map thing, like if the map
caves and Vostok, special weapon fest. Don't go in there unless you want to die to a shotgun.
Abilities.
But that's the tough thing that I see about Vostok is if there's two lanes in Vostok. There's two lanes, right? So essentially, so if scout rifles are strong next meta next season. There's two lanes where I don't necessarily want to go, but then I have to go into cave, and that's special weapons, and it's kind of just it's kind of just a toss up whether you come out on top there, right? And then look at all these defensive abilities that we've developed now too. People can just set up in there. You know what I'm saying? Like you remember like Black Ops 2, where people would have they camp a room, it'd be claymores everywhere and all this other shit, or you just couldn't roll up in that room, you couldn't roll up in that room without taking an L. So a lot more defensive options between, Titan and Warlock in particular. And let's not forget, I mean, Hunter, it's not like Hunter lost abilities with regards to area control or area control denial. So Cave is just going to be a fucking toss up.
We didn't have stasis back then either.
That's true. That's true.
I can't wait to get frozen. Also, Void 3.0.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't thought about it a lot, but you guys brought up some good points to the point where now I'm thinking maybe Vostok may not be the play. We'll see how it ends up.
I don't mind Eternity though.
Eternity's the shit. Eternity is the shit. I
like Eternity.
I argue one of the most underrated maps.
I agree. That map got hate because of the sandbox at the time.
Exactly. But look at all the rotations. Look at the solid cover.
Look at all the angles.
All the angles, man. Beautiful map. I loved playing. Like Eternity is like the javelin of long range maps, and it's not. And you can obviously play close quarters in it as well. But what I always love about some of the best maps in the game is the rotations, the access for rotations, and you just have buku ways of getting around the enemy. And Eternity is, even better or worse depending upon how you want to see it or whatnot. Like the rotations, the map is so big that the rotations are so long that you're actually off the radar. You don't have people. you don't have to go invis to get rotations. Please, just work on your rotations and stop crunching invis. Can I just throw that in there? But with Eternity, the rotations are so long that you're actually straight up off the radar. So you can make some nasty solo flanks, and it's gonna be exciting to have it back. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Vostok might end up being a convergence though. Not gonna lie, I might just start backing out of that.
It could be an insta back out, but
yeah,
hopefully
it might be.
It's not that way.
yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully, look at this. I've turned Lou into a glass half full. Look at this glass half full gentleman here. I don't know about Nuve. Nuve is still sitting there like, this gonna be shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not too sure about it yet.
Got you. I feel like there was one last thing. One last thing I do want to say or talk about is just the direction. Like, I feel like there's a discrepancy between like folks in the community with regards to how much they kind of trust Bungie with regards to PvP versus the reality of what has been going on with the neglect of PvP for so long. I mean, you could also kind of extend this to Gambit to a degree as a game mode, but I don't know, like you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like the track record of PvP and what we should expect and how much trust we should be giving Bungie, but also most importantly, honestly, like how much acknowledgement Bungie should have for us as PvP players about trying to get that trust back, you know? Because sometimes I feel like the comms are like they've done, I will say this, they've done a better job over the last several months, I do feel like, with regards to the comms in acknowledging kind of their track record and the need to be better about it, both with regards to throwing resources at PvP, but also just on the comms, you know, kind of in the background, acknowledging that they need to do more instead of just completely ignoring that fact, and just no comms whatsoever. A lot of times, just completely dismissing, you know, concerns. So I don't know, Nuveii, what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I agree with you that they've definitely been communicating more lately, like over the last few months with PvP and like their neglect and, you know, kind of admitting that they do need to put more resources in it. But I'm kind of waiting for them to actually like go on it. You know, like I really want to see changes. Like I want to see trials get a revamp. I want to see comp come back. Like I want to see more maps get put. And it's like you know, and kind of just like because, you know, the the company like just doesn't really listen all the time and has been neglectful with PvP. I'm waiting for those changes. Like, although they say that they are gonna do it and you know, it's gonna happen. I don't know. That's not satisfying to me. Like, it's not enough to me as a PvP player. Like, we've already been waiting so long, like people
Years.
who like yeah, like literally years. It's like we've already been waiting so long that it's like now, like just now they're like starting to communicate to us. Like that's not good enough. They need to go now, and they need to start making changes now, and they need to start listening, and in my opinion they need to be super transparent towards everything that they're doing. And like this should have happened, I mean, years ago. It shouldn't be happening just now. So it's kind of why I'm also like just a little bit pessimistic, because, you know, I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up for something that has already taken so long.
Calm?
I guess. Okay, so I think there's a disparity between the casuals, you know, the average PvP player, you know, streamers, and also I guess sweats or hardcore. I guess we would be seeing more as like hardcore, right? And Bungie's not really listening to like any core, you know, community. A lot of casuals feel like, oh, you know, it's the streamers ruining PvP. A lot of people, especially more hardcore people, get really passionate. They're upset that, you know, why are people catering to, you know, stats almost every single time get brought up. Every single time I see DMG tweet about PvP, I immediately notice like the same like 3-4 people who go at him, you know, bring up his stats, bring up his takes, stuff like that. And he's a community manager. He's just a messenger.
Yeah.
But do I also agree with Nuveii that, yeah, they haven't really been the most faithful towards PvP? You know, what helped D1, especially during that 6-month content drought during Taken King, was Trials. The thing that, helped D2 even during periods of downtime was Trials. And they haven't exactly been giving, PvP the respect it deserves, not since what I guess the last time we got like an actual map was Shadowkeep, and the last time we got like quote unquote updates besides the Trials revamp was what, Shadowkeep, I think. Like it's been a really long time, and it's they're saying, oh, wait until Lightfall, but since Shadowkeep to Lightfall, that's been 3 years. You shouldn't have to wait the entire lifetime of D1 to actually get what we had. Like we were guaranteed maps back in D1. Like, you got your little map pack, you got PvE, you got like your vendor refresh and everything. We don't even get that anymore. And that's crazy to me. And so Bungie just, they need to start making changes now. I know that's, not possible.
Oh, well, we don't know what's possible. We don't know what's possible. I mean, I'm all about, trying my best to reflect my community's needs and also my desires as well, and trying to hold Bungie a little bit accountable to, making sure that they're taking care of or prioritizing, the PvP folks, which is a substantial number of folks. But also, again, we've said it before, the fact that PvP sustains, does a large part in sustaining the population when, content is dry, when PvE content is dry. So, okay. I'm gonna read something real quick. This is from the IGN article. A lot of people, I'm sure, have heard of it. Let me just see if I can link it real quick in the chat. If you haven't seen it, give me 1 second. Good old Twitch, good old Tony's chat, pulling up on this computer. So this is an article that came out, I don't know, like a couple months ago. December 10th, 2021. It says, the battle for Bungie's soul, inside the studio's struggle for a better work culture. So it's talking about the work culture for sure, but it also nails on this whole idea of Bungie kind of struggling with the vision and direction for the game. Just kind of, a lot of people with mixed ideas on what the direction of the game should be within the company, and why that ended up playing out in the inconsistency of the content that was released. And so I'll just read something real quick. Creative direction overall was fraught due to the pull of different groups and powers in the studio. Some of Bungie's old guard were especially precious about the vision of Destiny 1. So, I mean, Lou has talked about that a lot, and I think Calm as well, if I remember correctly, about how Destiny 2 is just, in a lot of ways, just a big nostalgia pull. Like, basically, Destiny 2 is just a nostalgic reflection of Destiny 1 in a lot of ways. It's been having a difficult time standing on its own, basically. So some of Bungie's old guard were especially precious about the vision of Destiny 1 and reluctant to change anything about the tone, characterizations, or direction of the story as the game moved into Destiny 2 and its subsequent expansions. This was especially frustrating for the team in cases where the vision had never been explicitly defined in the game or elsewhere, but only existed as ideas in the heads of people who no longer worked in the narrative. And I feel like that also 100% applies, even more so applies to PvP. And I've said it before in the past on Twitter, where I was talking about, it just seems like, based on the changes that have been made, maybe you guys can agree, disagree, based on the changes that are being made or not being made with regards to PvP over the last several years, it just seemed like there was just a lack of direction. Things would go one way and then they pull back the other way. It wasn't like there was a direction or a vision by which you could see that changes made
1 step forward, 2 step backwards.
I mean, or even not necessarily forwards or backwards. It could be just in to the right and to the left as well. So I mean, the point being that a vision, the best way to tell a direction or a vision with regards to a flow of a project, of a game, or whatever else, is that a sandbox change is made and you can see how that fits in to the direction or the vision. You can always go back to how they describe the end game of what they're going for And you can see how that sandbox change here, how all that fits into the direction or the vision. And so many things that were done or not done with regards to PvP over the last several years were just all over the place. And it didn't describe any sort of vision or direction for the game. And that's something that I do think that they have improved upon internally based on what I've seen and the comms that have come out. But it was good to see that validation when that article came out, because I had spoken about it quite a bit in the past.
That was a good read.
Yeah, it was a very, very good read. I would definitely encourage everybody to check that out. So do you guys? This is the last thing, and then we'll get to the questions or whatnot. Do you guys feel that? Do you guys agree? Disagree?
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I don't have many other thoughts on it other than that.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Calm?
I'm pretty sure, because we played D2 since the beginning, you remember the Go Fast update, how they were like, oh, we want movement to be, back in the game. We want matches to be fast-paced, and then you see their vision now. You look at Forsaken, and, people are complaining about Chap. And don't get me wrong, Chap was even dumb back then in Forsaken, right? But you have things to balance it out, like Not Forgotten, Ace of Spades. You could compete with a Mindbenders or Dust Rock. Snipers were still pretty strong. You introduced the Last Word, even though Last Word back then was incredibly overtuned. Arguably more so than it is now.
Arguably.
And it's just their vision. Yeah, you're right. It's all over the place. It's hard to kind of pinpoint things. A lot of the changes now are they're very contradictory towards things they said in the past, but
Trials is like the best example of that right now.
Yeah, they don't really know what they're doing when it comes to Trials. They've said they said multiple times back in D1, we don't want, shotguns to rely on a specific perk. Shot package straight up got removed because they didn't want shotguns to rely on a perk, but now it's just, if you don't have opening shot, what's the point?
Well,
they got rid of quick draw. They nerfed quick draw like all over the place. Not just on shotguns. Then they removed it from shotguns with the exception of Mindbenders and I guess lightweights and I guess, basically non-aggressives, right? Now they're talking about, we don't want Snapshot to be defining like perk, and it's just kind of like
slowing down the game more.
It's just they don't have a clear vision.
Well,
even now they still really don't.
I'll balance that out on the other side of it, and I would say that the vision is I think that the vision is coming into focus now. I think that I hope that changes that come for Snapshot will be changes that they like any changes they make, they're going to try to avoid the mistakes from quick draw, because the quick draw nerf was overarching, right? It was the perk itself. So the perk, whatever weapon it came on, whether it was a primary, secondary, shotgun, hand cannon, pulse rifle, doesn't matter. It affected that weapon, right? And a lot of people feel some type of way about how it affected snipers in particular. So I'm again cautiously optimistic that changes that might happen for Snapshot, that they've learned their lesson from how they ended up doing things with quick draw. I think also that they've done a great job requiring folks to build into faster handling for your shotgun, in your build and build crafting. So you can still have that quick access to your shotgun, but you just have to build into it. You actually have to build into it with regards to your armor and your mods and that sort of thing. So I argue that I agree that we need more actions than words now, 100%. Like Nuveii said it, 100%. It's overdue the time for actions and improving PvP quality of life at the very least. But new content at honestly, like is kind of just a standard,
that should be a given.
That should be a given. Exactly. Like the time is definitely now for actions over words, like actions over comms and wishful thinking and that sort of thing. But, I'll push back a little bit, with regards to comm. And I will say that I think that internally the direction for PvP is more set there. And I can definitely see how the changes that they are making with regards to the sandbox and with regards to PvP, kind of fall in that direction. Now that feeds me into the first question, actually, because I just scanned it. Do you think, and I'll rephrase this question. So, Hal. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Hal. Hal is fucking genius. Thank you, Hal. Hal made sure that he actually put down the person that asked it. So Machamp1X asks, do you guys think Void 3.0 will be an issue like Stasis when it came out? And so that feeds back into the snapshot versus quick draw, right? That I was talking about. I hope, I'll toss it right to Com basically after this. I hope that just like with any changes that they make to snapshot, that they learn from the lessons that they learned their lesson from quick draw, and they'll make a really thoughtful change to snapshot, hopefully specifically on snipers incrementally first, and then see how that ends up playing out instead of touching snapshot across the board. And I hope that's the same case for Void 3.0, that they learn their lessons from Stasis and the introduction of Stasis when they bring out 3.0. I want Void 3.0 to be a success. I want that shit to be dope. I want everybody to be using it to start off with. I'm completely down with that, PvP or PvE. But I do hope that PvP isn't an afterthought like it was with Stasis. When Stasis got released, PvP was easy. It was easy to see that they didn't do anything with regards. They were purely thinking about PvE more than PvP, because that shit was broken and free to and pay to win as well, because you actually had to own
that's kind of
Beyond Light.
I know you wanted Kami to answer, so I'll let him go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Com. What do you think?
I still have the Stasis clip up of me just playing on Titan, going from one javelin spawn to the next,
coast to coast.
That was quite literally my first time ever playing Stasis Titan too. I think when it comes to Void 3.0 especially, and I guess it kind of feeds back into everything that we've kind of brought up. If it is broken right, I don't want it to be another case of, oh, we're going to be spending the next year trying to fix this.
Yes.
Trying to compensate for it, especially with Stasis, right? They spend an entire year trying to quote-unquote balance Stasis. And even then, I remember when LunarZ was doing this with SMGs, just throw Stasis Crystal down, damage resist. So they can't kill you. You have, your multi-mac, you have your Recluse, you have, whatever SMG of choice. It doesn't matter, right? Even my good friend Hayes, who's also an IM, does this with Headstone. You get that damage resist, you're kind of unkillable. And I don't want Void 3.0 to go that route where everything else is just kind of ass in comparison, and you more or less, if you're not using it, and if you didn't... Did they say that this is Witch Queen only, or is this accessible to every single player?
This is accessible. I think this is free.
Yep.
So
okay.
Void 3.0
every player has it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a good step.
Yeah, that's a good step.
That's
100%.
a good step.
That's what kind of I'm hopeful, Void 3.0. Now, I don't know how they would actually change Void 3.0 and not have it free to play. I don't know how, because you're just changing something that they already own, basically. But that is a great step in the right. That's something I feel again, folks don't talk about enough. The fact that literally it was pay to win. Stasis was so dominant in PvP, so incredibly dominant, that if you weren't using it, especially in in-game activities, that you're literally throwing. You're literally.
If you didn't have Beyond Light, you were not competitive.
Exactly.
In
Exactly.
No.
But you had to own Beyond Light in order to access Stasis. You had to own Beyond Light, so it was literally pay to win. Literally pay to win in in-game PvP.
Dawn still competed. Chaos Reach still competed, but Reach was.
Chaos Reach only competed because of the super.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the boots really, and then Top Tree Dawn. It's just Top Tree Dawn.
Well, I would argue that if you the only teams I feel that were really trying to come out on top, you were throwing unless you had Stasis on your team or you had 3 Chaos Reaches. That's it. Tell me another team composition, that would come out on top, that didn't have Stasis on their team. So yeah. Nuveii, what do you think? So the question again is, do you guys think, from Machamp1X, do you guys think that Void 3.0 will be an issue like Stasis when it first came out?
Can we go over what Void 3.0? I generally know what it's invisibility, right? It's
so every class will kind of have its own thing. Like Warlock, for example, will every class will specialize in its own unique thing. Like Hunters specialize in invis, Titans will specialize in just being a tank and overshields and control demolition or whatever that signal perk is called.
So it's not one thing where with Stasis everyone got ice, so it's different now.
See, it's kind of like that, but every class, for example, I think Hunters and Titans might be able to get Devour, but Warlock will be the best in specializing in it, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
I mean, don't quote me on that though. I don't really read.
Yeah, because I was reading it and then I saw like all the like videos of everything for every ability, and I was like, this is too much. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But like the one thing that I did see though, because I just looked at hunters, was the invisibility thing, and I am a little concerned with that because as you can see, this season how strong invisibility is. Like now, if it gets enhanced into next season, and then it's like it's not just hunters, but it's like Titans and it's like Warlock. I feel like it's gonna promote a very just annoying environment in Crucible. It's gonna be like third party central, right? Like you're gonna kill someone and then you're gonna get killed by some dude like halfway across the map, like sitting invis with a sniper, and it's like or just get like ran at, right, by someone like with a Lord of Wolves who's invis, and like you're just never gonna be able to like know like where anyone is, and it's just gonna be like a just constant annoying environment. That's like the only thing I'm a little worried about. So I am hopeful that they learned from Stasis, because Stasis was such a mess that I think Void 3.0 is going to release better. But at the same time, it's like just with how strong, specifically at least, invisibility is. I don't know. I feel like if they're not very careful about that next season might just be, a bunch of ghosts running around like killing each other. Everyone's invis and you have no idea. Like hide and go seek, or hide and seek.
Oh man,
everyone's just gonna be somewhere.
Yo, that'd be crazy. Could you imagine like a fun casual playlist where like your HUDs were automatically turned off for everybody?
Yeah, basically that's what I'm worried about. Basically.
That'd be hilarious. So you're the only one that's on console. I mean, Lou plays on PS5, like, so maybe he can chime in. But I guess I'll add on like a small question. How prevalent? Lou already knows where I'm going with that. How prevalent is invis, and how impactful is it on console versus on PC?
Well, I don't know about PC, so I think Kami or you could fill in more on that. But console, it's pretty prevalent, especially with like, once again, going back to like special weapons, like Chaperone being like the way it is right now, or like duality, or like fusions, even snipers. It's like it's like special weapons are already so strong, and then when you pair them with invis, it's just even stronger. So you do see it like quite a bit on console.
Sorry, I hear you. Okay, you see it quite a bit on console. So I'm dying in chat right now. Lou and Com got mad people coming through, man. But like Lou, you got some wild folks, dog.
Nah, typical being sus. Like they gotta call on themselves for real.
I love it, man. Yo, shout out, most definitely. If you're here for Lou, if you're here for Com, if you're here for Nuveii, make sure you definitely shout out that love in the chat for him, man. I love to see it. Cool. All right. I think the next question, I had something to kind of ping off on with that. I just wanted to make the distinction. So it's not about the fact that I don't like varied builds, or that I have a problem per se with specifically invis. I don't, it's just that like our radar is literally it. Like that is the majority of our game sense, right? Like, especially for the average player, it's the majority of our game sense. And so to have a bunch of, exactly like Noob said, to have a bunch of ghosts running around the map, it kind of is really, really difficult to counter. I mean, if it's difficult for me and somebody can just run up on me, especially in an elimination format, then God, like it's got to be damn near impossible for like the average player, And
I said this a while ago, like, on like, it's the reason I'm even on Hunter. I want to play Titan or Warlock, but when I match triple invis, it's like I know what the counter is, but I can't swap the Hunter mid game. The counter is literally me playing invis, bro.
Yeah. Right? Or at the very least having a dodge. That's why, like, in trials and when I'm doing help and stuff like that, I just play on Hunter almost exclusively now, just because it's just like, at least I've got my dodge, basically, which synergizes with a lot of and my movement, which allows me basically to compete against people just rolling on me with just with some stuff. I was about to say something, but I held back. You know what I'm saying? With things that, you know, are a little bit more difficult for me to counter. You know, that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. Got to roll on them. So, okay, next question. This is a really, really cool one from Clark, something that I think myself and Clark have talked about quite a bit. How would you define oppressive weapons versus annoying? And how those abilities to exotics and how does that apply specifically to exotics? Which should perform above the norm, exotics versus legendaries? How do you define oppressive? Like, Clark, come on, man. One question, dog. One question. Is it ease of use, limiting my ability to things? Is it cool abilities other guns can't do, or just catch all for things we don't like? On the same note, Kiku asks specifically about Le Monarch. So how would you define oppressive weapons versus annoying weapons? Annoying weapons being, oh, okay, well, it's annoying to me, so it shouldn't be in the game. Or it's annoying to me, so, you know, blah, blah, blah. But this right here is objectively out of line with, you know, like the rest of the sandbox, and is oppressive to the point where we can't play the game how Bungie intended us to play the game. You know, so you know, like it literally stops us from playing the game. So Lou,
think of
oppressive versus annoying.
When I think of oppressive, I think of last word, right? I think of, yeah, if one person in the lobby is, if there's like pre-nerf last word, like Rumble on PC, if one person in that Rumble lobby was using the last word, everybody put that shit on. Because it was that OP. You couldn't fight against it without using it, right? And like when I think of oppressive, I'm thinking, dude, there's actually nothing, there's no counterplay, like there's nothing I can do, right? And then when there's annoying, it's like, it's really annoying to die to and play against, right? But it can be countered, but I just have to play in a really boring way that I don't want to. Like, I hate Monarch Bow. That thing, that needs to go. I'm sorry. But, well, you know, jokes aside, it's like, DMT is like one of those weapons where it's like, it's kind of like on the thin line of like oppressive. It's obviously very annoying to fight, but like it's oppressive in the hands of players who know how to abuse it, right? Where if it's just like, you know,
the average DMT user,
if the average grandpa puts that thing on, I'm gunning them pretty easily, right? But where it's like, it's a good player, they know they're using it, and they know how, and like they have good game sense, and they're like on the same caliber of player as I am, or probably better, right? It's just like, yeah, like this is unbeatable. I gotta have this build on, right? So honestly, like, I guess with how I see it, I'm okay with exotics. Like, I guess to answer the question of legendaries versus exotics, I'm okay with exotics being better than legendaries. But there are some exotics that are just up here. Like, they're just so much better than everything else. Like, that's when, you know, I start to have concerns for like the sandbox at large.
Calm?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything Lunar said. I think in terms of oppressive, right, if the only solution is, okay, I need to put on Ruin's Driver to counter Ruin's Driver, or, you know, Linear Fusion to counter Linear Fusion, that's when it's too far, right? But something like annoying, I guess for me, I would put that as like a 120, right? Where like they're obviously not overpowered, but if someone's hitting me, like pelting me for 80 damage from, you know, back in the map, am I gonna get annoyed? Yeah. But a lot of that just boils down to, oh, I need to change up how I'm like playing. I can't just, you know, ego peek or slide the same angles. I just need to adapt. But with, you know, oppressive, there's no adapting. It's put on the gun or you lose.
Yeah. It's either put on the gun or you lose, put on another like, you know, super oppressive weapon or you lose, or it's play in a very particular play style, usually a very slow play style, slow and intentional play style. But it's like very, very, very few options. And you know, with Lorenz Driver, for example, there's just very few options, period. Especially in the hands of a very good player. But
just don't peek.
Yeah, that's
like
basically what it comes down to.
That's kind of how I feel about Invis right now. It's like against a good team using Invis, you literally have to wait in your spawn. You have to wait before you can get info. And even then, it's like you can loop it, right?
Yeah.
So
Nuveii.
Yeah, 100 strength with the Invis build thing.
Nuveii, what do you think? Oppressive versus annoying?
I mean, like, you know what? I'll give you guys an example because I have just most stupid group of people. They stream snipe me every weekend. It's their religion. It's been months. They love it. They love it. They're obsessed. They stream snipe me, and you know what they do? They triple Titan Behemoth, and I think one of you guys mentioned this earlier. And with your SMG, keep shooting the ice, get the overshield, keep shooting the ice. Place a shield, throw your nade, shoot it, get the overshield, run forward, place another shield, throw your nade.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
I actually played. I'm pretty sure I played against that T-Von Javelin, by the way. Yeah, that was just not. It was unbeatable. They had one-eye mask on too. They have overshields all the time, 24/7. They have overshields.
Exactly. And it's like I could like 7-tap this kid to the head, he's still living. It's like that's oppressive, obviously, right? Like me and my carry partner Ara, we have to like double, like triple Lumina and like play to point and like try some like weird shit that like hopefully kind of works, because it's not even like, you know, the amount of crits I hit will matter. Like we just have to like 5-tap like body them, you know, with Lumina.
Yeah.
Or not Lumina, sorry.
Malfeasance.
Malfeasance, sorry.
Yeah, Malfeasance.
It comes like I said earlier, it comes down to like Nuveii, you know what the counter is, but you're not on Titan or any other like abusive.
Yeah, exactly. Like basically what you guys said. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta fight fire with fire against that stuff.
Yeah, see, all y'all are just like, you fight fire. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna lose. I play the game to have fun.
Tony's
you know what I'm saying?
stubborn, dude.
I don't give a fuck, bro. I play this game to have fun. You know what I'm saying? I play this game to have fun. If I'm not having fun, if I have to switch to a particularly boring, or I have to switch to the weapons that they're using in order to come out on top, we gonna lose that game. And you know what? We're doing trials help. Hey, I might just go ahead and let you know we're resetting.
It's like playing against a cheater, right? It's like I'm not gonna sit there and struggle for 30 minutes, like trying to play against something that I'm not gonna be able to beat. Like I'll just take the 5-0 and move on.
Exactly. Like, I'm not trying to waste life on that right there. You know what I'm saying? So like, oh man. So okay, oppressive versus annoying. I guess I'll top it off by, let me see. Is there something that we haven't said with that? There's just weapons that are like borderline. So, you know, Clark mentioned, I'm sorry, was it Clark specifically talking about like Le Monarch? I just want to mention that the biggest proponent for Le Monarch is Mercules, by the way, online. He's the biggest proponent for Le Monarch, and even he said it needed to be toned back. He put it like down in a tweet somewhere, so a lot of people aren't going to be able to find it.
He suggested a pretty good nerf for it, actually.
I mean, he's a smart guy, so I'm sure he did. But I'm just saying, you might not have seen it. You know, it was like down in the tweet somewhere. I might have to probably find it and retweet it. He probably doesn't want a lot of people to see it. You know, the fact that him, the biggest proponent for Le Monarch, we call it in my chat, we call it Le Oligarch, by the way. But yeah, like it's like, it's oppressive, but I would say only slightly oppressive. But the reason why Le Monarch, for example, is oppressive is you get hit by it. It's high ease of use. Anybody can use that thing and basically make me back off. Like you can't just back off. And people say
body shot or headshots, you're out the fight.
You're out the fight. You're out the fight. You know what I'm saying? You're just ticking for like forever. And it doesn't give you the actual like ticks, right? It doesn't give you the burn damage. It doesn't show you where an enemy is by the ticks, does it?
It does.
Oh,
yeah, it does.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing too that people don't even realize. You know what I'm saying? Like you're taking that tick damage, and I'm behind the wall, and they know exactly where
they
know exactly where I am. They know exactly where I am.
And then like half the time it like glitches out and kills you anyway.
Yeah. Well,
even when it's not supposed to.
Yeah. Well, you know. Clark, but you out here asking questions. Clark, I'm about to move on to somebody else, man. Come on, you just trying to get the whole stream to yourself, dog. Let's see here. I saw something for the average player that just wants loot. How do you entice more of these players to stay in trials, comp, and the Sixes playlists? That's asked by Sir Raging Storm. Lou, what do you think?
To entice the average player to play like standard PvP, trials, and what else? Comp?
Yeah, trials, comp, and Sixes playlists.
I mean, Sixes, there's pretty much nothing to get. Like, to be fair, like if you're playing 6v6, you're playing for bounties, or you're just playing it to blow off some steam or pass time.
Honestly, I think just to add on, by the way, because, you know, like that's kind of two separate questions, because the mentality with regards to in-game trials, comp, is kind of different than Sixes. I think that honestly, Sixes is just loot. because that's just everybody playing it. You know what I'm saying? Like casuals or otherwise, they don't care. Like a lot of people don't care about improvement, which I am 100% for. If you don't give up, if you're just trying to play the game, just a vibe,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, let's go. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like loot is going to be the driver in that particular playlist. Go ahead. Specifically, but, specifically, like you don't have to worry about anything else. I think it's a little different for Trials and Comp. Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, but in an environment like Trials, like although Bungie has like made great strides into like enticing players of all skill levels to like participate in the mode and even get something, even if you're not winning, the mode still demands performance, right? So as long as the mode demands relatively like high performance, or it expects a lot of you out of a player to get the best loot, I don't really know what Bungie can do as long as Trials is designed around that particular philosophy. I mean, maybe like they've experimented with matchmaking parameters, but like if Trials is a loot source, right, there shouldn't be any sort of skill-based matchmaking. It doesn't make sense for everybody to have a coin toss on whether or not they win games to go flawless, right? It should just be random, in my opinion. But I mean, comp.
Should there still be a card system then? Should there be card matchmaking?
I mean, what Kujay, like I watched one of Kujay's videos and he suggested that for like the good or upper echelon players, there could be a card called like the Passage of Prestige or something, where it's juice loot, but all your games are going to be difficult, right? Like you're only going to match players that are on that card, and if you're going for juiced loot, that means the better or higher up like echelon players are going to care more about the juice loot, right? Well, like I guess the average players could, you know, use the other passages, and it can just be that free for all. But I guess in the topic of comp, I feel like if you're going in to play comp, you're playing comp for the purpose of playing good players, right? Like the incentive for comp is fun, right? You're playing it because you're in it for the thrill of matching other good players, right? Cosmetics is kind of just the cherry on top, in my opinion. Obviously, when comp had like pinnacle weapons tied to it, it caused a lot of problems because like even within itself, it was kind of pay to win in some sense, where it's like, if I'm not a good player, it's not like you can really get carried back then. It was pretty much impossible to get carried in comp. So you had to like pay for it or hope somebody would hop on your account and do it for you. So we don't really want that. I mean, maybe good gear, like high stat armor, maybe. I don't think they can really lock like good weapons behind comp, but maybe they could like introduce high stat gear for everybody that plays.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it before, and definitely like, you know, I have that video on YouTube where, you know, I was talking on a panel with regards specifically to, you know, how they would improve comp, but I mean, we won't talk about it then. But to reference what you said, I'll read this right here from that same TWAB on 210, I believe. When pinnacle weapons were introduced, they were tuned and presented as being best-in-class weapons to act as rewards for players dedicated to a particular activity, for example, comp. They excited and motivated players, but they were expensive to build for legendary weapons and had some undesirable side effects, such as PvP pinnacle weapons becoming mandatory in PvE, like Recluse and Mountaintop, or becoming incredibly unpleasant to play against, or so strong that no other weapons in the class could compete in PvP, such as Mountaintop and Not Forgotten. So they say that they're moving away from pinnacle weapons. They didn't give too much detail, but they said that they take a moment to clarify the move and also introduce the pursuit weapon for next season, which is what they do after that. So, okay. So, Nuveii, we'll go to you next. And what was the question again? For the average player that just wants loot, how do you entice more of those players to stay in the Trials, Comp, and Sixes playlists? So we'll narrow that down. I think it's just straight up loot for a Sixes playlist, to be honest. Like, how do you entice those players to stay in Trials and Comp specifically?
I have no idea. I mean,
that's fair. That's okay.
I mean, I don't know. At least to me, like Trials and Comp is just such a miserable experience that I mean, even I like I don't want to be in it to be honest. So I don't know how you would get
That's
the
honest.
average player to go in. Like, just I feel like the sandbox is rough. We're in a rough meta. Like PvP is just not a great state right now. So I mean, I don't know. I think I'd have to sit on that and think about it a little bit. Maybe
Do you think?
how.
Okay, maybe I can
mean,
stimulate some thought. Do you think that they should take away the 7-win requirement somehow? Do you think that the 7-win requirement is antiquated at this point? It's like just gone out of fashion. Do you think that they should switch up the mode? Like it shouldn't be elimination anymore to the point where you die and it's so oppressive that like you're just out for the round unless you get a res. So do you think they should switch it to like more of an objective play mode, something like survival, where you have limited reses, some sort of combination with survival and what we currently have now, or bring back countdown? Like, we got some options. What do you think?
I mean, I guess yeah. Like, I mean, I guess if they incentivize the card by giving you loot. Well, I mean, they already do that. Like, they already give you loot on like 3 and 5 wins, right? And
yeah, but that loot is
win.
old towards the middle of the season.
That's old, right?
Yeah.
So like, if they like maybe just like made new loot, I guess made new rewards, like that might do it. I mean, I think they just need to revamp just everything. They need to revamp trials and revamp comp and give us new maps. And I feel like that alone, like people are gonna want to check it out and they're gonna want to play. And as long as they keep doing like little updates to these playlists like comp and like trials, I feel like it is gonna get more like average or even below average players to
jump
in. I've always feel that like I don't want to interrupt too long or anything, but I always felt like, my personal opinion, if you have to compel like bad players to like play your game mode, that tells me that you don't even like think your game mode's fun.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to come. I'm just trying to be.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Nuveii. Exactly. Tell him.
Yeah, like
shut up, Lou.
Obviously, like I'm pessimistic in nature, right?
My
like,
God.
I made a whole video.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. Il's just forcing me to be positive right now. So,
I'm just saying. And see, that's the thing. Like Lou's over here. You see the whole personality transition right here, like from like start to finish. You're messing that up, Lou. She was a glass half empty type person. Now she's a glass half full person, and you're messing it up, man.
Like he's not wrong. He's not wrong though. He's not wrong. Like
stop it, Nuve. You've made so much progress. Stop it.
Yeah. All right.
Come on, Com's got to get in. Let's get Com in here. Com, the question again is for the average player that just wants loot. How do you entice more of these players to stay in trials and comp?
I guess they kind of already. Bungie has this really cool habit of solving these problems, in previous updates, or I guess in the case of D1, and then coming to D2, and they're like, oh, let's try and reinvent the wheel when the solution's already there. Back in D1, you had skeleton keys. I don't care for strikes. I think I've done less strikes than I've ever done, before. Even with GMs being the way they are, it doesn't really lean towards me wanting to go out and do it, right? But with skeleton keys, I would do the strike playlist, get my 3 keys, go to a strike I want to go to, pray that I get the Mago Loop or Grasp, and not the armor piece and stuff, and that would be my solution. I think in normal PvP, right? Let's just say 6s.
Okay.
And comp. Let's use that as a comparison.
Okay.
You have your normal weapons. Let's say you get Luna from normal PvP 6s. Get what's another? I guess. Let's just say you get Matador as well from PvP 2.
Okay.
And then in comp, you can get like the Adept equivalent. So. And with the Adept equivalent, let's just say they have more curated perks, not like pinnacle weapons, but just their perk pools are a bit smaller, and it's going to be. It's more competitive options. Like things that they know, like, oh, I can easily get like slide shot on this, or I can get opening shot on this. You can still get this on the normal version, right? But it's a little bit, harder. You're at the bane of RNG.
Yeah, that's a great thought actually. So if folks didn't catch that, actually, Com said that in 6s you can pick up a Matador with a certain, say it's got like 10 perks. I'm just gonna add a number and just keep it simple, 10 perks. But in comp, if you go run comp, you can pick up a Matador and that perk pool is reduced down to maybe 8. So you have a higher chance and 8 of like the best perks, So, it's not like the Matador that you get is going to be any more impactful than a Matador that you're going to get in sixes. It's not like you're getting anything different per se, but what you are doing is giving yourself a better chance to get some of those better perks that anybody can get even in sixes, but just a better chance of getting it by playing comp. That's interesting. I haven't heard that one yet.
Into the adept weapon system is honestly the best way that they're going to get casual players, below average players to, actually start playing more outside of, just sandbox updates, making the game more fun, of course. And I think, especially when it comes to trials, right, replayability is the most important thing.
Yep.
I think the flawless pull has always kind of been, it doesn't matter what they do. It could be, capture the flag or anything. It doesn't matter. If more or less you're telling me the most I can really play is, those 3 flawlesses, play as much as you want before Sunday, and then when Sunday comes, just prepare for your life to be harder than what it ever realistically should be because you went flawless.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense to me. And I guess another thing, it's slightly less related, but it kind of goes back to the core issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The core
in
issue
other games,
of intrinsically enjoying the activity. Is that what you're saying? The core issue of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think a big issue, right, especially when it comes to other games, whether it's Overwatch, Halo, Apex, when you go from, sixes to quote-unquote comp, there's such a it's such a large difference. You aren't playing survival in quick play, and so more or less your brain's going to be, you're used to, running it down mid, control or clash or whatever, right? Meanwhile, comp's completely different. And then, you go from comp, and then you go into trials, and they're 2 completely different things. Introduce things like zone control. Introduce things like, clash, where if someone, jumps off the map, it gives a point to the other team, so, you don't run into the same issue you did before where, oh, I'm playing against a good team, it's the last minute, time to just jump off Altar of Flame. Bring back Supremacy. Bring things that, like, encourage people to play the OBJ while also, not having it be too different from original quick play. So, let's just say, grandpa, grandma, whoever,
Stop with the grandpa, grandma. Come on, man.
Bro, they can play quick play, right? And then they can go in the comp and go and not go, what is this? What's countdown? What's survival? They shouldn't have to learn a completely different game mode.
Yeah.
It should all kind of lend into itself.
Yo, com's dropping
like
heat
a
right
flow,
now.
Right?
I feel it. Hey, that reminds me actually a little bit of, and I'll just make this point, and then we'll go on to the next question about how like raids, they end up like teaching you a mechanic with the first encounter, right? And then they just build, and then they build on that, right? So now that mechanic might be in the second encounter or a different mechanics in the second encounter, but by the time you get to the end of the raid, then you utilize all that previous experience with those encounters, and then for the final encounter, I should say, sorry, by the time you get to the final encounter, the boss phase, then you have to utilize all of those mechanics. So they taught you how to do the boss phase. They taught you how to do the boss encounter through those previous encounters. So, So I don't know how that relates, but I always love that. So I see what you're saying, Com. Like when people, like, there should be a more fluid transition, right? There should be a fluid transition between these different modes. It shouldn't be so jarring that you hop into, comp or trials after playing sixes, for your entire life, and it be so different to the point where, you're just completely out of your element. Now, what I will say is that I do kind of like the distinction between the playloads and like I think there's a balance to be had, but I do kind of like the distinction between the playlists, because that just encourages folks that like trials. Oh, okay, yeah, I kind of like this, or at the very least, I wanna get something out of trials. They have to actually be in trials. They have to play every weekend to get acclimated to the game mode, to get acclimated to these specifics of what the game mode is that week, whether it be zone control. They have to actually learn those mechanics, stay in that playlist, and actually persevere through it in order to get whatever in-game loot or in-game objective, to obtain that. So I think there's a balance to be had. But I see what you're saying. All right, next question. Oh, thank you for striking them out. Hal's up here doing the most. Holy. Here we go. This might lean into it a little bit. Disregarding technical considerations, so back-end considerations, what would you do to change matchmaking to make the experience better for both low-skilled and high-skilled players at the same time? Ivarock asks that in the chat. We'll start with Com.
I guess. So, what is crossplay like right now? Like console can only match console, right? Or is it still like PS5 can only match like PS5 and also
there
like
is
Xbox Series X.
preferential matchmaking, to my understanding, right? So if you're on new generation, for example, like triple new gen console players will only match other triple new gen console players.
Is it really like that?
Yeah.
I thought it was just console could match console, but like new gen, old gen didn't.
Oh yeah, it
Didn't
definitely
match.
matters. Yep, definitely matters.
It
Oh, really?
matters still.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's why
Oh,
folks don't even
okay.
realize, like, we're talking about the flawless pool versus the normal pool, but folks don't realize
so
that the
many different
population, yeah, there's
pools.
so many different little pools
Oh.
that,
Yeah,
that Bungie never
there's-
talks
Yeah.
about, you know,
There's
that
30
folks don't know.
FPS versus 30 FPS, 60 FPS versus 60, 120 versus 120.
Oh wow, that
Yeah.
okay. Huh.
I guess to make things better for newer players, right? And I guess lower skilled people. I guess it really depends on like how you're going to PvP, your approach, right? Because I guess when I first started playing D1, because with D2 I came from Overwatch, it was just a matter of not if but when. But in D1 I was completely just starstruck. I had never played like a console FPS before. And so that was my first time ever using an actual controller playing D1, and I got shit on. Like I was pretty average. I think by the end of like what D1, I was like a 1.5, 1.6 and everything. And I would say, you know, I felt pretty confident in myself. But the only reason why I strive to get better, right, wasn't because, oh, skill-based matchmaking, or, you know, they're making things easier for me, or like anything like that, right? I have the innate desire to improve. I think with skill-based matchmaking, you're just more or less, you don't know that there's other parts of the ocean. You're just going against the same fish, the same fish, the same fish. And you never really get to see, oh wow, you know, there's a bigger fish out there. I didn't want to start improving until I played against like Ambu. I didn't want to start improving until I played against like, you know, War Bulletproof. You know, just these household names, these insane players. And so a lot of people, you know, yeah, Guardian Theater content's amazing, but when they see like Tony or LunarZ or myself, Nuveii, they're like, you know, how are these people doing that? They're cheating, they're cheating. And it's because they don't see that stuff regularly. They're just matching, you know, the same people who are just kind of walking around. They're not sliding with their shotgun. They're not sliding out with their sniper.
So how does that translate? So how does that translate to matchmaking? Like, do you think that, because right now with lobby balancing, you're going to see that more. Almost every game, you're going to see somebody that lobby balancing has designated to be the top of the leaderboard, right? That has like whatever the high MMR, high ELO, or whatever else. They've designated that to be in almost every lobby because it's not purely connection-based matchmaking, right? So does that mean that you think that, you know, some sort of lobby balancing the way that it is right now, to the point where folks are always going to see those sorts of people in their lobby, is a good thing?
I think there's a balance to be had, right? Because right now, like, even if I drop 60, I know it's not fun for the people on my team. Like, yeah, you know, we're gonna be questioning, you know, oh, you know, why didn't the person who dropped like 15 do more, or like anything like that. But when I've had those like screenshots or lobbies or whatever, right, I always know deep down this isn't fun for them.
Yeah.
You know, even in matches where I'm struggling, right, like I'm dropping 30, I'm dropping like the 2, 3, like whatever, you know, which is still really, really good. I have teammates who are all going negative. I can guarantee they did not have a fun time getting farmed.
Yeah.
So I think it's really tricky, right? Because you don't want to lean towards skill-based matchmaking. You don't want quick play to just be the definitive, oh, you know, I'm just looking for a quick, fun match, you know, whatever. And that means your matchmaking is going to take like an hour. You know, we're going to make sure you're playing against Stasis Titans who all are, you know, using damages. I don't want that to be quick play. But I also don't want quick play for the lower end to be, oh, well, you know, I'm playing against Sergio. I just got like headshot the entire time.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just leave.
Yeah. Okay. Nuveii, your thoughts? Matchmaking. Like, what are your thoughts? What should they change, or what are your thoughts about the matchmaking to make the experience better for both low end and high end, you know, skilled players, everybody in between?
Can you go to LunarZ for a second? I'm actually talking to someone real quick.
Yep, that's quite all right, Lou.
Like True Vanguard's like the only one I've heard, or one of few people that I've heard, like with this idea they could incorporate this thing called outlier protection, where it's just like rock bottom level players or like new players should not be in your matchmaking bracket whatsoever. Like they should have their own little matchmaking for them, kind of, because like in a social playlist like 6v6, like, you know, everyone's playing it for different reasons, right?
True.
So like in See, matchmaking, it's a slippery slope because it's just like you don't want to go to skill-based matchmaking where I'm literally stuck on Cheater Island.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waiting in queue for 8 minutes to play against cheaters or people across the planet.
Yep.
Right. But at the same time, like you said earlier, like lobby balancing, bad players are literally put on your team for the purpose of getting farmed. And I can't imagine that's too fun for them either.
Or just being bored, by the way. Like, this is something else, because I actually fielded this question on Twitter a while back. I was just like, yo, what like, folks that, all my mutuals, shut the fuck up. Like all my folks that, I've been playing this game are highly, skilled, experienced at the game. Like, what are your thoughts on lobby matchmaking? And it's just like, yeah, sure. Like, if they end up getting put on the team and they're not as experienced, right? They may get farmed, and that's not fun. But also on the flip end of that, even if you end up winning, you're just sitting there. You're sitting there bored.
Didn't shoot back, right?
No. I'm saying the average player, to below average is just bored because the person that is very experienced is getting all the kills, and therefore they're just sitting there.
They're not getting a piece of the action.
They're not getting a piece of the action. They're not enjoying themselves either way, right? So
I honestly don't know what they could do.
I don't know. But I'll spring off of what you said with regards to outlier protection and making sure that, for example, you protect the new lights who shouldn't be anywhere close to my lobbies, right? Like, if it's going to be outlier protection, it needs to be transparent to them in particular when they're going to be thrown into the regular pool of matchmaking.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the big thing. Exactly. Because it's going to, if you don't have an expectation of when you're going to be thrown into the mix with everybody else, then yes, it's 100% going to be jarring.
I know the early Call of Duty games did that perfectly, right? Where there was this there was this matchmaking playlist called Boot Camp.
Yes.
Or if you were a brand new player.
Yep.
And then the moment you hit like level 10 or 11, you got kicked out of boot camp and you were forced to like play the actual matchmaking, right?
Yeah.
Where it was just completely random.
Yep. So
and Call of Duty, like at least the early COD games, I don't know if it does it anymore these days, but early Call of Duty games did that perfectly.
Yeah. So that's all I got to say about that. We'll let Nu, if you could just jump in on the next one. We'll go ahead and move over to the next one because I want to talk about Witch Queen a little bit. So a great question, and I'll give some context because I just pulled it up, and then we'll get into the question itself. But let me see. It was Cuz Muzza asks, what are your thoughts on some of the new Witch Queen exotics, specifically the new LunarZ Titan helm that gives you a sunspot on critical health? So let me see. I'm scrolling down. So the LunarZ Splendor helm for Titans for Witch Queen is more than just a pretty face. It has a cauterizing flame perk that allows for sunspots to heal players when they have Sun Warrior. So we're talking about Bottom Tree Sunbreaker, by the way. Bottom Tree Sunbreaker is the subclass on Titan. Critically wounded, no big deal. The perk also ensures that a sunspot is created in your location to give you that one last fighting chance with that quick grenade or melee ability recharge and longer supers. Plus, more damage, always a good thing. So from the developer team, playtest named Stag Spot Helm. Hold on. So this just ignore that part. The goal here was to embrace the awesome art and give Sunspot players another choice besides Phoenix Cradle, which is another a pair of exotic boots for the Titan. Also, melee builds are becoming more popular, and this makes higher level difficulty melee more viable, at least in theory. So, I could go through like the rest of the exotics, but I'll leave everybody, Hal, if you want to link. Actually, you know what? I'll link it here real quick to the chat. And you guys can check that out if you want. This is a couple weeks back. The put that in chat. There we go. A couple weeks back. The TWAB. All right, Nuveii, you ready?
Yep.
Perfect. So Nuveii. So again, what are your thoughts on some of the new Witch Queen exotics, specifically the LunarZ Titan helm that gives you a sunspot on critical health? So again, like when you're critically wounded, hold on, what does it say? It has a cauterizing flame perk that allows for sunspots to heal players when they have Sun Warrior. So it ensures that a sunspot is created in your location to give you one last fighting chance when you're critically wounded.
Okay, yeah. So when you get low enough health, it just like appears like under you.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay. I mean, it sounds nice. I feel like that would especially be nice for like clutches, right? Because obviously when you're critically wounded, all of a sudden it also could be good for baiting, right? Like when you're weak, you're running, or not when you're running, but if you're weak and you take cover and you have the sunspot right there, right? It allows you to re-peek right away. You can bait. I feel like it might also be good, especially for trials, just because of the, I guess, just clutch potential, I guess, with having it, because it gives you extra damage as well, right? Extra damage.
That's correct.
Gives your health back, abilities as well. Yeah, I mean, I feel like for Titans, depends on how strong it is. Obviously, we haven't seen it yet, but depends on how strong it is. It could be a viable exotic.
So you're on the boat of maybe it might be viable. Okay,
it depends though, right? But we have to see it.
I'm listening. Yeah, you're right. We have to see it. You're right.
It could be.
Yeah, no, you're right. Look at you. I love this. Look at this glass half full lady. She's completely transitioned off. Even I'm sitting over here like that shit's gonna be OP, bro. Man.
We're hoping that they keep it, in some sort of balance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Of course.
Like maybe the regen is a little slow. So like maybe if you're like quick enough, like you can still kill. I mean, we don't know yet. We kind of just have to see it, I guess.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's going to heal you. It sounds like it's going to heal your teammates, but it's not going to heal you. It's just going to give you the sunspot benefits.
I think the Cauterize perk heals you if you're burning an enemy and you defeat an enemy that's burning from your ability.
Yeah, if you defeat them. Yeah, but that's like a Sunbreaker perk. That's not a well,
Cauterize is on bottom tree hammers.
Okay. So you have to defeat them and then you get your that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. So it sounds like so sorry, I'm all over the place, but it sounds like Nuveii that when you're critically wounded, a sunspot appears on you. That gives you the sunspot's benefits, right? Increased damage, but also increased grenade and melee recharge rate, right? But then if you defeat an enemy while you're in that sunspot, it sounds like it heals you after that, as if you got a melee kill.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way I'm understanding it, Lou?
I don't think it might be like that, because unless the sunspot kills an enemy, it's not going to heal you. So from my understanding, I think it will just spawn a sunspot next to you while you're still critically wounded.
Okay.
And
but if they run up in
damage.
And you do the extra damage with extra rebuild, like ability regen.
Gotcha. So if they run up in it, in close quarters, and they die to the burn, that from your actual sunspot,
it might secure you a trade, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you might get your health back. That's the thing. If they die to the burn, you get your health back.
If you live in close quarters and they push you, you get your health back.
Yeah, crazy.
So it sounds like more of like a baity kind of exotic then, right? Like you run and you leave it there at like a corner, and like someone's trying to like rush you. They might like accidentally fall into it. You get your health back, and then potential for like more plays after that, right? So maybe something like that. It would be pretty situational though. Like if you're trying to maybe like hold down like a zone in trials or something, right? Trying to hold angles on it, like on Endless, for example. Like if you're in mid, like so something like that, maybe something like that.
Yeah. The more we talk about it, I'm kind of with you, Nuve, to be honest. It sounds like it's just doubling down on what Titans and that subclass in particular is already good at, which if you're trying to push a bottom tree Sunbreaker, you better know what you're doing. You get caught in that flame. Sunspots didn't even need a buff. Can I say that again? Sunspots were dope.
Sunspots already got buffed once.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Before the buff, they didn't even need a buff, man. Sunspots were dope even before the buff. So after the buff, you literally can't touch a sunspot without 95% of the time just dying, So now the way that I'm seeing it, the way that I'm hearing it as we discuss it, it seems like they're just kind of doubling down on it. It makes it less viable at range, makes it less viable at range. You get critically wounded. You pretty much have to expect that sunspot to come up, duck behind cover, and then come back out with the increased damage. Because obviously if you get critically wounded, this is what it sounds like to me. You get critically wounded, the sunspot comes up below you with this exotic, and you still stay out beyond cover. It doesn't sound like you're going to have, you might get a trade with your primary or whatnot, but
because here's the thing, like the sunspot will come up, but like it's not like it'll scare primary players from like challenging.
Exactly. They're gonna continue to shoot you. Exactly.
Health, right?
Yeah, exactly. It didn't heal you. So interesting. Com, what do you think?
I mean, I guess another question, right? I guess it's easier on Titan. Is it actually going to pull people away from Doom Marchers?
Are you asking that question? You're asking that question? Just
I mean, it's kind of like rhetorical, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So yeah, it sounds cool and all. Titan's got like a lot of cool exotics, like, but the issue that a lot of them fall into, and I'm hoping that this one doesn't, right? Is that it's like niche. Like Ashen Wake's, like really really cool, but it's niche. Or like One-Eyed Mask, I guess yeah, it's gotten a lot more popularity now. But like other Titan exotics, they've always been niche. They've always been niche compared to something, say like a Hunter exotic, right? With like Dragon Shadow that boosts your entire kit, or Ophidians that boost your entire kit. But with a lot of Titan exotics, with the exception of like OEM, I guess Doom Marchers, it's always been like those niche, like, oh, did you know if you put this on? And don't get me wrong, I think it's going to cater to a very specific player, but is it going to, make me or you or anyone go like, oh yeah, Hammer Titan, it's already really good. I should put on this to make it even better, when technically it doesn't need that.
I honestly think after talking about it, like, and we'll move on after this one. After talking about it, it sounds like a lot of fun. Now that's a great question. Is it really going to pull people off of Dune Marchers, for example? Where people can actually be mobile. Preferably, this game is about being mobile. Any FPS is about moving around the map, right? Moving around the board and trying to be productive in that sense. I feel like the downside to Bottom Tree Sunbreaker and the benefit of Sunspots has always been, like how it's produced, and then the fact that you had to stay stationary to a degree to get the full benefit of it, right? And so to be able to create more sunspots as you're kind of moving around the map is really the dub that may put Sunbreaker Titan on the map as far as strong meta, because I'll say this, Sunbreaker Titan has been strong for a long time, a very long time,
Especially Bottom Tree.
Bottom Tree, that's what I'm talking about, really specifically about Bottom Tree, but it's never been strong meta. Right now it's kind of on the cusp, and maybe this exotic might pull it, maybe it might not, but I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. The one that I was, as far as exotics from Witch Queen, the one that I was most concerned about, to be honest, which one was it? I think it might have been the Warlock one. The Osmiomancy Gauntlets.
Oh, are those the Empowering Rift ones? Or...
Well, actually, we got both of those, actually. So you've got the Empowering Rift one, and so I'll read it really quick because I want to move on to the next question. So you've got two exotics that maybe, kind of flagged me a little bit, and, we'll see. And one of them deals with Stasis, which Stasis is still, whenever you rock it right, Stasis is still the most powerful, like, individual, like, skill tree, in my opinion. When you rock it right. And another one has to do with Warlock Rifts, and Warlock Rifts right now are really strong because of Stag, and they're going to get even more options with these boots. So Warlocks are first up. Let's talk about them legs, because Warlock mains have definitely been shouting out their love for the new Secant Filaments armor. With a Devouring Rift perk, these shiny walking sticks of power will grant a player Devour when they cast their Empowering Rift, allowing for damage from both allies and individual players, the ability to disrupt foes, but in style. So this started out as, what can we give Warlocks that would make Empowering Rift a more viable choice in Master Plus content? But we're talking about PvP right now. We figured that the answer was, well, it probably has to heal you. So eventually we settled on what we call Devouring Rift Pants. Overload was also, this is dope for PvE, by the way, for sure. So I definitely want to say I'm super excited about these things for PvE. Overload was also added intrinsically to increase excitement and expand the options players had to build for various champion-enabled content. And that's dope. So for PvE, these are probably the exotics, the Witch Queen exotics that I'm most excited about. But for PvP, you're going to, you stand in the Empowering Rift, you get the extra damage, but the benefit of, the downside to being in an Empowering Rift whenever I'm facing one is the fact that they don't have a healing rift, right? They don't have an actual healing capability. But now they're getting Devour, so they end up killing me in an Empowering Rift. Now they get Devour and their health comes back, and now Lou can't slide in and take out that last person, So we got to be really careful about that. Now, my question is it going to proc Devour to the point where they're going to be able to drop out of that rift and continue to proc Devour, or do you have to be on a Void Lock in order to do that? That's definitely a question that I have.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, the next one, and then we'll get to the next question. This is definitely one that I'm concerned about because I hate being frozen and slowed. That just completely takes away my ability to counter so many things via movement. Y'all know how much I love movement. Next is the Osmiomancy Gauntlets for Warlocks with the Fervid Cold Snap perk. This nifty look allows for Cold Snap grenades to have an additional charge that will recharge faster when it makes direct impact. The Seeker spawn from Cold Snap nades also travels farther too as a bonus. So I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna let Nuveii. What do you think about those gauntlets? So it's going to have an additional charge. So you're gonna get an extra cold snap with these gauntlets that will recharge faster when it makes direct impact. And let's be real, it's gonna make direct impact a lot. It seems. The Seeker spawn from the cold snap grenade also travels further too. So, or actually, it's farther should be the word. I'm a stickler for that. Go ahead.
So the cold snaps are the ones like you just throw and then like they just seek on the ground.
That's correct.
And when they hit you, they freeze you.
They freeze you. That's right. Yep. That's the one.
I mean, I don't know. To be completely honest, that just sounds like useless.
Because I feel like,
I mean, in my opinion at least, like I hardly get hit by snaps. If I'm in like a congested area with a lot going on, normally I can, hear them when they land. Like you can hear them for sure. And all I do is just jump, and they just fail. Like they never hit me. Like I just never get frozen by them.
But now you're gonna have to jump faster. Like I come up against you and I throw that on the ground, next to you, that thing is gonna like almost instantly freeze you because it's gonna travel that much farther, or that much. See, they messed me up. That much faster.
I guess for an average player it might be an issue, right? But for like someone with like a faster reaction time, or at least like I'll say this, like for the top top tier players of the game, I don't think they're really gonna have an issue. It's just gonna be the same thing. You keep in mind that in the game that someone has a cold snap grenade.
But we're not talking about. We're not talking about us though. We're the 1%. The even top 10% doesn't matter to this conversation. I'm talking about most players.
Well, I mean, yeah. I guess it could be an issue. I mean, it also just once again depends. Like I would like to see like how fast these are exactly traveling. I would also like to know the recharge rate. Like if it's like the same recharge rate as like. What are those purple tracking grenades that warlocks have? What are they called? I'm like blanking right now. Yes. So if it's like axions, like the obnoxiousness like of axions, like on those grenades, like I could definitely see them being like super irritating. And I definitely see them being more successful in a game mode like sixes, where there's a lot more chaos going on and you can't keep in mind of everything that's going. Like you can't be mindful of necessarily everything going on around you, right? And in sixes as well, with the chain ability of the grenade, I feel like that would also come more in play in something like that.
Yeah.
But for threes and for comp, I just don't really see the grenade being very successful, especially if you're gonna see like above average or good teams, mostly in those game modes, right?
Yeah. So let me knock you with this though, Nuveii. Like how we feel about getting frozen. It takes away your ability to counter via a lot of different things that are skill mechanics in the game, quote unquote skill mechanics. It takes away your movement, it takes away your ability to shoot back, it takes away your ability to just simply evade through, if you just want to say strafe, or rotate to cover. Even now when I get frozen, it's a little bit of a problem, to increase the prevalence of that happening, particularly in a clutch situation, it like stasis was a problem for a reason. It wasn't necessarily so much because it was so prevalent. It was because you got frozen, and it takes away your ability to kind of like counter. So
yeah.
So even if we're talking about you run up in trials and you're just getting frozen more than you were before, like that's what I see as kind of like a problem. It takes away your agency,
I mean, it's just all about finding a balance, right? Because it's like, in my opinion, like the cold snap grenades have always been really easy to avoid. Like all you have to do is just keep in mind that the enemy has it, right? And just play around it. Don't put yourself in congested areas.
I say this again,
and
like you are going to be able to do that, but most of the player base is not going to be gonna be on that level,
And what I was about to say is that obviously on the other hand, some people might struggle with that, and so you have to find the balance between keeping the grenade in a good place, but then obviously not letting it overpower the general population. So I'm not sure what the fix might be for that, because I mean, you don't want the exotic to be useless, right?
True, most
So
definitely, definitely
I
not.
guess, if it froze, maybe it just froze for like, you know, I mean, half a second. Maybe it was really quick. Maybe you get out of it really fast, or maybe when it hits you, instead of freezing you, it does like an extended slow on you, right? Like you're slowed for like 4 or 5 seconds, right? I mean, it depends on also just how fast, like, how strong they make their grenade. Like if it's gonna travel very quickly and it's gonna be something that not a lot of people can avoid, then the punishment for getting hit by it obviously shouldn't be so great, right? But if it's going to travel slowly but travel further, I feel like if it hits you and you get frozen, that's something that's put on you as a player, and you kind of do deserve to get frozen and have a high chance of dying from it, from that misplay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm gonna take a note from your book and definitely like be a glass half full, and we'll wait and see. What I will say is somebody in the chat made a pretty solid point. They said that the only reason it would be used, or the likelihood of it being used, is more so that you can get a second charge for a warlock turret. So, I mean, you can already do that with Nothing Manacles, though, right? Nothing Manacles gives you a second charge. Can't remember.
Only on scatter grenades.
Only on scatter nades? Yeah. So I mean, it's the same. Oh yeah. So that's void. That's void. Yeah. So okay. So then stasis warlocks have an option to get. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. That's interesting. Two turrets, Lou.
Bro, here's what people don't throw 2 turrets at me. If I realize someone's using that, I'm putting on an ace of spades and I'm getting free memento moris, because you can get kill perks off of that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Can you get paracausal stacks from Hawkmoon off of it?
No.
Oh well, that's they need to change that. I need my Hawkmoon. Come on, man.
Nah, just put on an ace of spades and shoot the turret, and you have power bullets to kill someone, bro.
All right.
When I see someone use that turret, that is a throw.
All right, we're gonna go to 2 more questions, because I don't wanna wear out my panelists here. I mean, I'm sure I'll say it later on, but I appreciate you folks being here. This is a great time. Let's see. 2 more. So I already know what the last question is gonna be. Unfortunately, it's gonna be from Clark. Clark just be sliding in questions. Yo, Hal, one question per person. Stop letting Clark bully you into giving like 2 and 3 questions, dog. He ain't that special. Please, 1 question from Clark. If I see another one, I'm deleting somebody. Let's see here. What do you think of players?
Wow, Tony calls me negative.
Well, they bully me all the time. So I gotta bully my regulars. I'm just reading through the remaining questions just to see the ones that stick out. 1 second. What do you think of them?
Like while we're waiting, I think kind of be interesting to see, like, you were talking about the double stasis turrets. Imagine like in 3v3s, like you just throw like 6 turrets.
Right. They just surround you.
Like 2's enough.
Yeah, two's
like
enough.
One is enough.
I don't see that happening, because, like, in my opinion, stasis warlock is the hardest, like one of the hardest classes in the game.
Well, I know, but like just
master,
imagine
right?
though, right?
It's like, I guess
like
people
you
will
just
play
catch
it for
them
that.
off.
Yeah, for sure.
All I know is like the if people really dig into that subclass and become like nice at that subclass. So I had like a clip that I was showing on stream the other day where it was a 1v1, and of course they were gonna throw some ability at me, of course. I can't really complain. I threw a nice arc bolt at them beforehand. So anyway, they threw a grape at me. You know what I'm saying? Axion bolt, by the way, if folks don't know the lingo. They threw a grape at me. Just as we were getting into like a 1v1. I had tagged them first with the nade, so they were already 106 off, I believe, is what the arc bolt does. And then they threw a grape at me, and we persisted through that fight. I just want to say that I won that, hand cannon main. So anyway, like somebody like throws a stasis turret at me in that circumstance, and I might have lost that fight. So honestly, I'm not particularly excited about more stasis turrets on the board. But anyway, so let me see. This is the second to last question. Is anyone worried that with build crafting coming in Witch Queen, with build crafting being pushed so hard that builds will be a detriment to the enjoyment of others. Now I'll rephrase that a little bit and give you some context, because I actually wrote down some stuff about crafting because I was trying to make sure that I refresh myself on that. So if like, is it going to become kind of craft creep, basically, kind of like power creep? This concept of, so I'll describe power creep and you'll see what I'm saying. Power creep is kind of like Vigilance Wing. Remember how quote unquote OP but Vigilance Wing was back in year 1 and the beginning of year 2, Forsaken? Like that thing was based on where Vigilance Wing sat in the meta. It was a extremely strong primary, kind of like how No Time to Explain is now in this current meta. It being one of the most consistent primaries in the game. Now
I don't see the problem.
Now Vigilance Wing, who has a problem with Vigilance Wing now? So that's what I mean by power creep is the surrounding sandbox got so good, as far as us being powerful, that Vigilance Wing is nowhere on the list with regards to I mean, it's not even in the meta, really. It's not even in the meta. You never see it.
Like, it's
so,
kind of there for like, it's still really strong.
It is
in the sense that like in the fun factors there, but there are just other pulses and other weapons that do what Vigilance Wing does, but better and easier.
So then translate that to build crafting. This is kind of what I'm sorry, Diet Pancake asked that question. Translate that to build crafting. With build crafting getting so like prevalent, with crafting getting into the mix as well, is it going to become so deep that the average player, or particularly the new light player, is going to struggle against that kind of off the bat, simply based off of folks being here and crafting so deeply into their build? What do you think about that?
I think we kind of already have that to an extent already with like the power creep. We saw that with, you can still use your year 1 weapons, but fixed rolls. And then, you saw that with like year 2 armor, where you can still rock a pair of year 2 stompies, right? You can infuse them all the way up to 1330 to my knowledge. But you'd still be better off using year 3 like onward stompies. I think that's just kind of inevitable. Like the more they like introduce things like origin perks. Or crafting, more or less being able to craft your god roll, right?
So what Kamiya is referring to with origin perks, if you don't realize, because I read this right before stream because I wanted to make sure I was being a good host, is origin perks with Witch Queen. In Witch Queen, there's going to be a new set of perks that are on a weapon that drops specifically Witch Queen, and after that it's going to give you a subset of perks specific to the activity that you acquired that weapon in. So if you acquired that weapon in Crucible, for example, just 6s, then you'll have an origin perk that is a subset of perks specific to Crucible origin perks. So continue, Com.
So yeah, I think we already have power creep to a degree, right? And we've seen it with exotics and all, like, oh yeah, Vigi Graviton used to be insane back in the day, but why would I use that, right? When I could just easily just use No Time. And I think No Time's perfectly fine. I don't think it needs a nerf. I think it's fine. I think it needs a buff. Did you know that when you pull out your ghosts and everything?
Take it easy.
It also deals with the same issue with that Ace of Spades had, where if you pull out your ghost, it like gets rid of the perk thing.
So no, so specifically now, if we're talking about like building your armor specifically, armor.
Oh, building your armor. There's already to a degree power creep, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Like you can see that with raid armor being specific towards that activity. I don't think it's going to take away from, like, let's assume it's still activity based, right? That's fine. I think we've already had that with like raid armor. I still have like my 65, 66 stat armor for PvP, right? Meanwhile, for a raid, I'm gonna use something else. And I think it's good that people have more and more different things to use. Like, okay, this would be really good for a dungeon, or this would be really good for Vault of Glass. I think that's fine. I think that definitely is, because they want this game to be more of an MMO, right? And they want the loot to be enticing. And I think more or less just using the same armor, you're not really getting that.
Got you. Nuveii, got any thoughts on that? Build crafting, like, deeper build crafting becoming kind of a power creep sort of thing.
I pretty much agree with Kami. I really don't think it's gonna be a problem.
God damn it, it's Kami. It's Kami.
Kami.
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you Nuveii.
Hey, dude. Tony, when I first rated you, you called me Nuveii. Yeah,
Bro.
you shut your ass up.
You're right. You're right. Continue, please.
Yeah, you said it wrong. All right. Anyway. I mean, no, I agree with him though. I mean, I don't think it's like at the end of the world, and I do think it's already kind of present a little bit, you know, in Destiny and that. I mean, if anything, it'll just encourage, you know, the new players to get into, you know, building, I guess.
I hope so. I hope so. You know, because so much of the new light experience right now is actually prohibitive. You know, I've heard it so many times from new light players. You know, the fact that there's just too much. There's too much going on. It's actually, you know, really tough to catch up. It's no clear. It's no clear guide within the game itself on a variety of different things to progress your character and your builds and things like that. I have to frequently think about tailoring my conversations in a way that new lights, well, some of the stuff we take super for granted, new lights have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. You know, I was just looking at just casually looking over the chat, and somebody said CWL, charged with light. You know, new lights wouldn't know what the fuck CWL is. They wouldn't know what charged with light is. They got no clue. So there's no context for that conversation. And that's just kind of a basic example of so many things in the game being so difficult for folks that just dropped into the game to actually progress in any activity, you know? I mean, even strikes right now, they're just going to get, I mean, they're just trying to casually run strikes or whatnot, but you got PvE main Lou out there just doing the absolute most, you know, in strikes, just running all the enemies, you know? So what I got to say about it is two things. I don't necessarily think that build crafting is going to kind of get this power creep type of feel to it. Why? For two reasons. One, there's limited amount of energy for mods on our armor. So there's only so much you can put on your armor. It's not like you can double, triple dip, you know, into your armor. That's number one. Number two, the fact that Bungie was requiring more things to be build crafted into. So, for example, we nerfed the shit out of quick draw. Now, in order to get that same or a similar feel for my shotgun, I have to build into it deeply. I have to build into that deeply. And there's only, again, when I say build into it, that means I have to apply specific mods to my armor and to my weapons to it to a degree in order to get a similar feel to an old perk that ended up getting nerfed that I adored, right? But when I do that, I have limited space, which is energy. I have limited energy on my armor left over to add more things, to add more enhancements to my armor and to my build. Now, the reason why I say that is Bungie is continuing to move in that direction. Now we're talking about what Lou said earlier, you know, like Bungie specifically said that they are looking at ways that folks can build craft, can build into reducing flinch on their primaries. So you'd have to actually apply mods in order to get more of an impact in that particular arena. And so, but there's only so much energy. There's only so many spots that you can do that on your armor. If you decide to build, if you decide to build into one way, look at me. If you decide to build into one way, then you know, you have limited energy in order to build into something else. And yeah, that's the other reason. The third reason is, or that's actually only two reasons, but I will mention one. There we go. I will mention one thing. Back in D1, you used to get raid-specific perks. There was a chance that you could get a raid-specific perk. I can't remember which one it was. It was something like you drop an orb and you get like some like healing back or instant recovery back, and it was on the boots, or I can't remember. I ran raids for like forever to try to get that one perk, but I would love to see rare perks come back in raid that were raid specific, that were raid specific as far as the origin, but that were applicable to PvP, so that it could continue to get more of us PvP mains that were trying to build craft deeply. You know, maybe it was well, it wouldn't be an intrinsic perk, but more of us PvP mains into PvE. You know, I think that's always good for the game, and vice versa as well, of course. But I know so many people that you know, haven't even touched PvE, and it's just such a beautiful experience. And obviously, Bungie continues to put a lot of resources into it, and it's something everybody should get into. So, all right. Did we miss anybody? Did you have any comments on that? Oh, Kam, you already said, right? That you don't think it's going to be an issue.
Did.
I think it was.
I guess
think
one
it was
thing
Lou.
to add.
Yep, I'm listening.
Guess, right. We do have better already, which is kind of like what we had before. But I do agree with what you said. Like in Iron Banner, we had those boots. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't just Iron Banner, but it was Iron Banner in Origin, right? And those boots, whenever you spawned up, I think it was like Second Wind. You get like faster handling, you're a little bit faster and everything.
That's what it is. That was what it was. That was the raid armor from D1 was where what was it? Was it critically injured or something like that? What was it?
It was something, but it became like better already in this game where if you grab an orb it gives you extra health, or like the Trials helmet.
But that mobility one was dope though. The mobility one was dope because that meant that you could on a warlock you could jump towards people faster and all types of stuff like that. That extra mobility was a really nice, significant.
You can get into the action faster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue, Com.
But you have the Trials helmet. I think it was called Angel of Light, where if you got a res, you would get super energy for that, so it encouraged you to res your teammates and everything. There are a lot of cool things that they could bring back, like those activity-specific perks. And I wouldn't say any of them were like overpowered. They were just, it's quality of life. It was really good.
Yeah, and I'll say again that it incentivized folks that, oh man, I'm bored. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I want to enhance my build even more. I want to have a build that's slightly better than Kami's build, because Kami doesn't play PvP, for example. I'm sorry, doesn't play PvE. So I'm gonna go into raids and I'm gonna run like 100 raids trying to get this one little bit. It's not gonna make me my build better than Kami's. You know what I'm saying? Who's already got a top tier build, but it's gonna give me just like a little bit more, so that I get into this one particular situation, and I don't know. It's basically, it's not super impactful, but it's something for somebody who's done everything to chase as far as end game. So cool. Last question for folks. Unfortunately, is from Clark. Unfortunately, I mean, he just had a good end question, so whatever. I guess we're gonna give it to him. I mean, I wish somebody else would have asked it, but damn it, he did. So we're gonna start with Nuveii, sorry. Bungie gives.
Okay, all right, bro. With our hands.
Bungie gives you free reign to change one thing about the game. What do you pick? Or if you could make an exotic, what would you make? So free reign to change one thing about the game, or like if you could make an exotic. If you have any idea of what exotic you would love to see, whether it be armor or weapon, with a specific exotic intrinsic perk, what would that be? I think that the second question honestly is more interesting.
That's a lot of pressure for one question. I could change anything I want.
Anything you want. Anything you want. It's your game.
Where do I start?
Remember, just one thing though. Just one thing.
Oh. Right.
She out here about to change the whole game, Clark.
I mean, have PvP well taken care of. There you go. I'll say something more meaningful like that, instead of like delete all fusion rifles or something. Yeah, I mean, if PvP was just well taken care of in this game, like, and the resources were put into it to keep it in a really healthy state at all points. I mean, and to have just the right decisions be made for the game mode, I think that is something that I would have. I wish for.
I think Nuvei's cheating. That's multiple things, not one.
No. Yeah, I dig it. See, like the entire welfare of PvP though comes with that, So
yeah. No, I think that's a
I guess
good
that was
one.
the joke.
Yeah, that's a good one, because we like we've said before, there's been so much neglect for the mode, and it is kind of just like a basic thing. In my opinion, if you're gonna have a mode in the game, you're a AAA studio, whatever else. If you're gonna have a mode in the game, it's in the game. Your game is not AAA if you don't take care of two of the A's. The Gambit and the PvP. So
I can't stand that. When people are like, "Oh, but like, stop complaining. Destiny's a PvE game." I see that shit. I'm like, just please shut up. Like, oh my lord.
Yep. That's almost an instant. That's almost an instant block from me on Twitter. I don't fuck around. Yeah. That's almost an instant block, straight up. If you come into my fucking comments and say, "But this is a PvE game, bitch," what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Not only do millions of people play PvP, but also, and I'm not talking about at one point in time, I'm just talking about in general. Not only do millions of people play PvP, but also it's literally in the game. It's a significant portion of the resources poured into the game. Even when there's neglect, there's significant resources still put into PvP. It's a PvP game as well. That doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, they've mainly made sure that PvE is the AAA side of it, but that certainly does not mean that this isn't a PvP game and that there isn't value to be had to be a PvP main. So LunarZ with a Z, by the way, if you could change one thing about the game, what would that be? Or if you have an idea with regards to an exotic and what intrinsic perk you would have, you know what I'm saying? Oh, look at him. Yo, eyes wide open now.
If there was an exotic that could remove flinch and bloom, I'm never taking it off. Boom.
I feel it.
That's my answer.
I feel it. Would it be okay? I'm gonna go farther. That's a good one. I'm gonna go further. Would it be a helmet? Would it be arms? And it would probably be arms, right? It'd probably be arms, right? It'd probably be arms. That makes sense, right? It'd probably be arms.
See, because I'm thinking about like fashion here, right? Like, you know, there are some armor pieces that look great, and I can't discount those. But yeah, I guess probably gauntlets.
It makes. I'm just saying it makes sense. If you're gonna take away flinch, I mean, basically it refers to your gunplay, right? It's all about the gunplay. So you know that means that you got some extra steady arms, basically some really nice arms. So okay.
See, actually, good idea. Make it. Actually, I'd rather it be a chest piece, so I could then like put like reloading mods on the arms and like handling mods.
Yeah,
like
no, it's true. I've said it before, and I'm sure you all agree. Like the mods, like the mods for the arms are just overwhelming. There's just too much shit on the arms. They need to figure that out. You know,
that way I'd have some room.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because there's really nothing like it. Assuming that the unflinching exotic exists for gauntlets, there's no it kind of like takes away the usefulness of chest mods. So I'd rather it be a chest piece, and then I could put impactful perks on gauntlets.
Yeah. I was thinking like this isn't my choice because I haven't even thought about my choice before.
Or maybe a class item.
Yeah, that's kind of sick to have it the only exotic class item. That'd be actually pretty fucking. That'd be fucking sick. That'd
be sick. You remember in D1 the exotic emblem?
The one you can get from trials, right?
I didn't play year 1. I was so jealous. My entire clan would equip that and just fucking rail on me the entire time.
The year getting flexed on.
I got flexed on 24/7 because I didn't have the exotic emblem because it was the only one and it came from year 1 trials.
Nice emblem though.
Shut up.
Yeah, it was such a nice emblem. Only the
I like the scarab
people.
more.
You like the scarab was sick. Yeah, only the best people had it.
Yeah.
Did you have it, Nuveii?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, she's flexing, chat. She's literally flexing on me right now. Okay, so that'd be dope. That'd be dope. Also, every class needs Ophidians. That or take it away. I don't know about that.
Everyone that wore that emblem in D1, that they played so annoying in trials. That's why I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I wasn't playing the game at the time to get it.
I mean, I was annoying.
Like everyone I've seen with that emblem, they just played like victims.
All right, so then the last question that I have for you, Lou, just because it's fun. What would you name your exotic? Would it be a chess piece? Did you settle it would be a chess piece or arms?
It would be a chess piece.
Okay, so what would you name the chess piece? And I mean, these are class specific exotics. What character would it be on? And don't say Titan, just say Hunter, okay?
Hunter.
Thank you. Hunter. It's the gunplay class, okay?
Yeah,
all right.
Stack that with Gunslinger for Chef Kiss, you know.
So what would you call the chest? Chat, what would you call that chest?
I haven't thought that far.
Okay. All right. If you can think of something, we'll come back around to you. Com, what you got for me? If you could change one thing about the game, or if you could introduce your own, you know, young Jedi exotic, you know what I'm saying? What would it be and what would the, you know, intrinsic perk? You could choose either one of those questions.
I'll answer both, sure.
Okay.
When it comes to PvP, I have dedicated servers. You know, if I can't have the all-encompassing, you know, answer right, just, you know, D2's welfare, right?
Yeah.
Dedicated servers will fix a lot of issues when it comes to latency, consistency. Like, we probably have no idea, you know, shotgun pellets, you know, missing. It might not even be a shotgun issue. It could just be, you know, 5 net code, you know, just I want CS:GO dedicated servers, you know.
You've technically played the like D2 on LAN, right? Or the closest thing to LAN. How was it?
Yeah. You still got damage glitch. It's a D2 issue. It is not an issue.
I thought I was hoping that you would say, oh, it would be a completely different game or something.
No, I remember because I was playing against like Panda's team. I got damage glitched out of my arc staff, and I was like, I kind of questioned why did I play? Why did I fly out here just to get 2-tapped? What was the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a D2 issue. But when it comes to exotics, right? I guess it wouldn't technically be an exotic, but do you remember the artifacts from Rise of Iron, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I think if we brought those back and we had something akin to what was the artifact called? It wasn't Felwinter Yolders. It was just something that takes away your super, right?
Yeah,
to
but
more or less make it more
stats and ability regen.
Yeah, so something that, you know, increases, you know, or decreases your flinch, something that increases your movement, something that more or less makes the game more like a shooter, right? But at the cost of your super.
Okay.
That would be kind of the exotic I would want, but I also understand that would fit more into like the artifact system from D1 that would like Apple exotic.
But that's still kind of a cool idea. Like, I mean, it was an artifact back then. Like, introduce an exotic that takes away your super and gives you something. You know, something that isn't hopefully broken. But that's actually kind of cool. That's actually, and not only is it cool, I don't see. So chat, I want to, since I asked you guys, so the exotic that Lude named, Clark says, name it, God damn it, not this shit again. Cuz says, name it, flinch, fuck out of here. Titan Halifax says, veteran's coat. Bosch says, bullseye bracers or something like that. I dig it. I dig it. But I don't see Lu's exotic being introduced into the game, but I definitely see Kami's introduced into the game. I could see that. Take away your super and then give you something interesting in return. I mean, considering, you know, most of us are more concerned about our neutral game, except for Nuve, who plays that horrible middle tree. And I mean, it when it works, but goddamn.
What? Bro.
Bottom tree for life. Bottom tree for life. I got nades for days.
Ask Loon and ask Kami. Best super in the game when it works.
It's unkillable when it works.
That's a crazy caveat right there.
When it works. Now, I'm not saying it works a good amount of time, but when it works, it works.
I feel
and
it.
It's very good.
I feel it. I agree. I made that subclass for a while, so I feel it. Let me see. Yeah, so I can definitely see that. Oh man, so for me, man, that's tough because y'all nailed a lot of it. Kami got that's a really good one. Nuve got a really good one. Man, Lou, I can't even remember what he said. I'm sure it was horrible. I can't even remember what he said, to be honest.
Damn.
It was forgettable. Not gonna lie.
Come on, dude.
Man, what would I want for PvP? I lean towards what Nuve said. What would I want? I think for PvP, like I would just want more environments where folks could get better outside of private matches. Yeah, play within. More environments where they're rewarded for improving, but that environment wasn't to the detriment of folks that just want to play the game and chill. You know, I think that's what I would want. Is an environment and an environment that's not super toxic. You know, there's ways to cut that out as much as possible. Not super toxic. People didn't have to LFG. You know, go outside the game in order to get those types of improvement focused environments. But yeah, that'd probably be it right there. Because right now the best way to get better is sweats. You know, is
you
scrims,
literally
private
have
matches.
to go out of the bounds.
Yeah, you have to go out of the bounds of what Bungie intends in order to try to improve. And I just wish that there was an environment. Not necessarily, I don't want to say similar per se or anything like that. I just wish that there was a creative way in the game where folks could focus on playing with intention, getting better, and that they were significantly rewarded for that. But again, not to the detriment of folks that just want to play the game and have a good time and don't care about improvement, because those folks, You know, like I'm always thinking about those folks and how they 100% have a place here as well. It's just, I mean, Destiny 2 is a game, right? So that would probably be what it is. I'm actually pretty surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised.
I mean, it kind of just sounds like you're asking for like just a comp revamp, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've spoken about that most definitely. You know, I think comp is the number one way to make that environment a thing. I think comp, you can definitely make it for dedicated folks like ourselves, but also I think it's a great place that you can also balance out and bring people in that are less experienced, but just trying to get better at the game, play with intention. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you remember like, you know, comp and like, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm done. I'm good.
You remember comp in like seasons, you know, 4, 5, and 6, and I understand, you know, the issues that you brought up earlier with like the, you know, like the pinnacle weapons like NF and LunarZ and everything, and Mountaintop. And I totally understand that, but I honestly, like, PvP just had a feeling back then that it was just like no other. Like, playing comp and like hitting 5500 was one of the most like rewarding feelings I've ever had, like in Destiny's PvP. You know, it was hard. Like, it was really hard. And being at 5500, you would only match other very, very, very good teams, and it wouldn't be bullshit. It wouldn't be, you know, people throwing around stasis grenades. It wouldn't be people playing invis. Like, you would get real like gunfights. Not now. I mean, there were other issues with that, like, you know, being very toxic, you know, as well. Course. Like, up there, you would get a lot of toxicity. Yep. Yeah, about to say getting your router fried every game. But I mean, you know, if in a perfect world, you know, that stuff wasn't happening, like that was a really good time, I feel like, for comp. And you know, if they could find a way to have it just feel the same way, I guess, without the pinnacle weapons being such an issue, like that would, I don't know, I just feel like that'd be a game changer for this game, and it would really be a place where people can go in and improve, and the good players can also shine as well.
I feel it. Yeah. All right, I'm with you. Cool, man. Y'all have a good time? I had a great time. This was great. For real.
Almost 4 hours. Ew.
Yeah, Tony was like, yo, it'll be an hour and a half, by the way.
I forgot. Honestly, I forgot that I said that.
That's his habit of dragging things on,
Tony just accidentally let it go on for 3 months.
Tony says he takes like 5 minutes to make a build. He's taking 20, bro. Like,
come on,
that's just a Tony thing.
Look, I'm just saying, when like, you know me, when I'm here, like, I'm present. I'm here, man. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a good time with you folks. I'm having a good time with chat, man. That, like, I don't want to be anywhere else. I don't want to be anywhere else, you know? So if I can get y'all, I know, of course. I'm blessed. I feel like, you know, like, thank you so much for your time. I truly, you know, appreciate it. You guys kind of, offering to be here. I know it took a little bit for us to get it, but I think honestly, this was like the perfect time to have it. So me and Com were talking about having it weeks ago, but this is literally the perfect time just before Witch Queen drops, when we have all the information. Most definitely. So this is kind of the perfect time. All right, start with Nuveii. Tell us where we can find you online.
You can find me on my Twitch and my Twitter at the moment. Those are the only socials I'm on. And it's just, you know, Nuveii. Just at Nuveii for my Twitter, and Nuveii on Twitch. Got you.
Nuveii. Nuveii. Yes. All right.
Not Nuveii.
Not Nuveii.
Yeah,
not Nuveii.
Not Nuveii.
Yeah. I can't imagine who would make that mistake. Kami, what you got for me?
Alright, so if you want to see my wonderful content, you know, provided I actually get around to, you know, making content on things on Twitch, it's always going to be on Kami, or if you want to say Kami, you know, Kami, yeah, you know, Kami, yeah, you know, with a BTW at the end. That's where I am at all of my socials.
Is that the same one on Twitch, or did you get X Kamiya?
Oh, it's Kamiya on Twitch, but it's Kamiya, by the way, on everything else. I do want Kamiya on, you know, Twitter, but
I'm telling you, holla at the man. Holla at the mans. Great. Lou, where can we find you, homie?
On Twitch and YouTube, LunarZ, as you could think, you know, Lunar with a Z or Z, you know, if you don't speak scuffed American English. I stream on Twitch like once every like 2 weeks, so like, you know, pull up if you're there.
Yep, listen to some good tunes. I'm cool. Watch the frag out. That's true. It is true.
Watch me like play quick play, you know, get some cheater accusations. Watch Guardian Theater, you know, the good stuff.
Yeah, the Guardian Theater content is good.
And then YouTube is more of an outlet of my thoughts on like the state of the game, maybe some educational content here and there too.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that.
Great.
And then
YouTube.
on Twitter, it is LunarZ X_.
Yep.
So.
Yep. There you go. And you know, you guys know where to find me. I'm here right now. It's ill physics on most platforms, illest physics on others, but of course you're here, so you kind of already know that. But ill physics here, ill physics on Twitter, ill physics on YouTube, as we do more stuff on YouTube, of course. Literally dropped like 3 quick videos today on YouTube. I'll plug those a little bit more on Twitter tomorrow, so definitely go check out the YouTube. We'll drop.
Kind of been on your grind.
I'm trying, man. I need to get my shit together, really dog. Productive. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get my shit. I mean, I've always had a grind. I'm trying to get 2022 is the focused grind. If I'm trying to be a content creator, I need to be better, well-rounded, and particularly on some of these other platforms. So we getting a little better focused on the YouTube grind. So we'll definitely have the shotgun video and also the latest Destiny 2 for PC optimization video, which Nuveii would most likely find beneficial since she is currently building a PC. But yeah, that's where you can find me. So I appreciate you folks. Thank you so much for being here. I'm staying streaming, by the way, so I'm just talking to these folks here. But LunarZ, Kami, Nuveii, I appreciate you guys being here. We'll definitely do it again at some point. But fantastic conversation, and definitely couldn't do it without you. So thank you